Good day, everyone. This is Denise. You are with Global Voice 2012. Today is September the 2nd, 2012, and we should have a very exciting show for you today. And I just want to say a few things. We are taking questions from our chat room. We are also taking questions from email that we have collected during the week. We have two email accounts that we work from, one being onefreepeople@gmail.com, which is our primary email address, and you can send all your questions, comments, information that you would like to get to Drake or to any of our admin during the week to that email address. And then the Drake Answers email, there's been a little bit of confusion there. That is for quick, to-the-point questions while we are on the air that can be used to answer questions, when we do like rapid-fire questions to Drake. Otherwise, please send your mail to One Free People or it may not get answered. There's been a little bit of confusion there. I would like to welcome myself back, and I'm so happy to be with you after Hurricane Isaac, and I would like to extend a prayer out to the people who are still suffering the ravages of this storm. There are people being continually flooded out of their homes, and it was quite bad and worse than what might have been expected because it sat and churned and didn't move for such a great while, and now rivers are overflowing and there's still quite a bit of problem from the storm. So I want to extend prayers and love and light out to everyone regarding that. And one more statement, Drake has not yet called in. I expect that he will be calling in any minute. But a little statement that our purpose here at Global Voice 2012 is to regain our God-given rights responsibly. This show is all about freedom and learning what others are doing and what we need to do in order to get common law and our constitutional government back in our nation and around the world. And I want to share, too, that our strength is found not only in our unity but in our diversity. And I think that in light of the fact that this is a very obviously volatile situation, everyone is very passionate. We have arguments explode on the Facebook page. I just would like to ask for everyone's cooperation. This is huge. This is big. This is an emotional event for everyone. And I would like to everyone please pause before we lash out at others, because when it all comes down to it, we are all here for the same reasons. And we all just want our freedom, and it's only through togetherness that we're going to achieve that. So with that being said, I would like to welcome Grammy and Minuteman are with us. And I don't know, I think maybe Drake may be getting some last-minute information.
He's ready to call in now, Denise.
Okay. Thank you, Grammy. And so I am so happy to be back, and I want to thank Paul Beener for stepping up and taking over and doing a wonderful, wonderful job on the show in my absence. I was actually there in the cab of my truck with the cell phone plugged in in the height of the storm. But I wanted to thank him for helping me. So that was very, very much appreciated. And also, we are simulcasting on Global Voice Radio. I will make sure that we have the links. You can also listen through the conference line at Global Voice Radio so that you can continue to listen on into if we go into overtime. And you can still listen to the program through our regular you know, Blog Talk Radio line. So anyway, welcome Grammy, welcome Minuteman, and I'm looking for Drake here on the board. If you would like to say a few words while I try to bring Drake in, we will get started here.
Well, hello, everybody out there. Hope everybody's hello. Hope everybody's doing well this weekend, enjoying their Labor Day weekend. I know we've had some company out, and we've actually got to take a little small break away from things, enjoy some good people's company, and, well, we hope that our listeners are doing the same. And kind of back up Denise of what she said about unity, and the reason why we're all here is because for freedom.
Well said.
Now, we've got a lot of different ideologies here, folks, and that's great. You know, as I'm sure our listeners remember, I've stated this before, that all the ideologies need to look out for one another, even if you don't agree. And the reason being is because one ideology is small numbers. When you combine the efforts of many ideologies, you have many numbers. Look, folks, it all boils down to freedom, and if you're really going to have freedom, it ain't just ideology that makes the grade. It's the combination of all of the ideologies that make freedom really mean what it means. Freedom.
Oh, yeah.
Food for thought.
Very good, thank you. Drake, are you with us yet, or are you having trouble getting in?
No, I don't see him yet.
I don't know what's going on, Mr. Beener, because he told me that he was getting ready to call in, and I did see him come online.
Yeah, he's probably getting last-minute updates. If I could add just a couple of things. If I could interject something, please.
You betcha, Paul. I would love to hear what you got to say.
Okay. Well, I just want you to know, and if we can't get Drake to call into the program, I can call him and just leave my mic live on the board and just mute myself so he can get on that way. But otherwise, really quickly, the multiple ways to connect to the show. Of course, you can go to Blog Talk. You can go to radio.globalvoiceradio.net and just click on the play next to the red live button. Also, if you go to radio.globalvoiceradio.net and scroll down to the bottom of the page on the right-hand side, you can download the mobile apps for both the iPhone and Android, and you can actually catch the stream from Global Voice Radio on your portable device. You can also call into the conference line, and that number, of course, is 559-726-1300. That is 559-726-1300. And the participant code to get into the room is 489454. That code again is 489454. And just for future reference, after the end of the show, you can actually listen to the archive playback on a real telephone by going to 559-726-1399 and putting in the same code, 489454.
Hey, Paul, I just wanted to announce the man of the hour has managed to join us. Welcome, Drake.
Hello.
All right. Hiya, Drake. How you doing?
I never know till the last minute. I've been bumping heads with somebody on this Skypey thing. He's saying I'm raising my hand and lowering it. You know, look, flashing light.
Yep. I think it was a hand-raising problem. I don't know. But anyway, you're with us now, Drake, so that's what matters. And hopefully we'll stay. And hopefully we won't have any issues with the calls today.
I hope not. I posted a couple of things had Denise post a couple of things for me on the website. there was one by General Vallely saying that the operation to go after Obama had started. I got another video and put it up on the website, and it talks about, this is from Spec Ops. That's Special Operations, in case nobody knows what that is. All of the Special Forces, pretty much. And the title of it is Bow to Nobody. And it's real short, it's only about 30 seconds. It says pretty much what needs said, though. And, you know, people might want to check that out. Now, I got a whole load of stuff here. Oh, boy. Something I wanted to clarify a little bit. Everybody said there was no real big deal in terms of announcements on the RNC. Well, there's a couple of things going on people don't know about. I don't know if you're just, you know, missing it or what, but what I understand, the fun and games at the RNC was taken issue with. And we're supposed to have a call, we're supposed to have a show about that called the Ron Paul case. And Ron Paul's lawyer is going to be on there to talk about it. And we're ready to bust up the RNC on legal grounds because they're playing games that they should not play, and they know this. Corporations are limited in what they can do, in case people don't understand that. A lot of them would like to make you think they don't, but, you know, there's a whole bunch of fun and games that, like I say, you got to look around, you got to be aware, you got to know what's going on. It's hard to find these things when they're not advertised. So we decided we was going to advertise it a little bit. I can support Ron Paul, and as I understand, there's been some other changes, and that will come out a little later. Anyway, you know, the first video explained that because the White House, under direction of Obama or his handler, decided to leak a bunch of stuff concerning Special Forces, Special Operations, that actually, quite literally, endangered people, that they would take issue with his butt. And they did. And they put out that video that stated that much. Then they come back with another ad. I don't know if there's going to be more or not, but Spec Ops. And it's a video. It's only just a few, it's like 30 seconds or 40 seconds. And talks about people fighting for their country, not so that our leader can go over somewhere and bow to somebody. And I think everybody ought to look at that. I really do. It's pretty extraordinary. Now, there was supposed to be an announcement by a certain cowardly person that I know, and whether he likes it or not, he is. So they got somebody that isn't afraid. And there's something you got to realize here. Now, a lot of these people that you see that are celebrities and make announcements and take on political people who are either sitting in their office or running for office. The reason you see older people doing this is because they already made theirs. They get a comfy bank account. They're, you know, paid for their house if they're smart. They got their stuff together. And they don't have to worry about their career being ruined by somebody deciding to go after them, whereas the younger ones do in a lot of ways. There's been some examples made in case people don't watch what's going on. As soon as somebody opens their mouth, they have troubles, and it can be financial, it can be marriage troubles, it can be legal problems that come up just because everybody knows that they can do it to somebody. And so you get these old people. Now, people don't understand about old people. We just positively, absolutely won't give up. You can do what you want, and we ain't going to quit. It ain't that easy. We've already been there, done that. And when your life is at a point where you pretty much lived it anyway, you're going to have to kill us to get rid of us. If we decide we have some issue with something, we're going to go after it. And so a certain celebrity financier, Dink, didn't make the announcement. He opted out. Well, that was okay in a way because it was kind of a mutual agreement. He wouldn't come under problems, and they could get somebody who could do a little different sort of a job. Now, if anybody ain't seen it, and it's gone crazy on the internet, Clint Eastwood delivered a little speech, and this is the basic heavy announcement. He's talking to an empty chair. Now, the significance of that is simple. That means there ain't nobody in it. It's sort of a slick way of calling Obama a nobody. Think about this. He said a bunch of things in there that pretty much put it all together. He's talking to this empty chair. No, I can't do that to myself. No, he can't do that to himself either. No. And that's primarily an answer to go do something to yourself. Now, he mentioned some things, hire Americans. He did not pull any punches. And Eastwood's, he's famous for a lot of things. A couple of those that I really like are the partners, the characters that he played, both on screen and during the speech. And basically, there's some things that go into this. Now, everybody knows what Dirty Harry means when he says, "Go ahead, make my day." Well, there's some things that go with this, and a lot of people aren't aware of this. And I'm going to be doing some posting after the show, hopefully, if Denise ain't going to be too super busy. But this is going to get to be real interesting. Several things have transpired. It goes along with this. Go ahead and make my day. That's looking at a gun, specifically the .44 Magnum. It'll blow your head clean off, as Dirty Harry has explained. The guy's got snow. And the guy points the gun at him and says, well, all the confusion, I don't know if I fired 5 or if I fired 6. Click. You rotten. Yeah, well, that too. Now, go ahead and make my day. Dirty Harry's character is nasty, but he doesn't do that unless it's required. Now, there's some things going on. Obama issued an executive order to, through chain of command, to disarm the troops in Afghanistan. Unload your guns. Now, that was tried in Vietnam, and everybody said, you're kidding. No. Nobody's that stupid, or they've never been shot at, or something is wrong. We ain't doing that. Well, in this case, it was made sure that it was enforced. Unload your guns. Now you're in Afghanistan. We're fighting with these turkeys. Well, several things happened over there. Did you notice that a certain General Dempsey's plane got shot up, and they couldn't figure out where the mortar fire came from, or was it mortars? Then they got to checking, and they found out, it wasn't mortars. I wonder who fired missiles at us. They had to change that airplane, by the way. It got messed up that bad. So General Allen comes along behind there and told the troops, lock and load. I don't know, there was 300 dead, by the way. Obama, you got blood on your hands, dude. I'm sorry, but I can only take so much, and I'm a little bit loaded for bear. So you got this sort of stuff going on. General Allen, I appreciate it. Thank you. Troops shouldn't be disarmed in a war zone, period. I don't care what the situation is. It just it ain't happening. That's just all there is to it. Then to go along with this, you got a bunch of other little fun and games things going on. Now, you got this speech, and I'd suggest you look at it. We'll get it on the website as soon as possible. This speech by Eastwood was all delivered by the outlaw, Josie Wales. Think about these things. You get Dirty Harry, and you get delivered by outlaw Josie Wales, and then I keep hearing rumors about a possible Obama coup, martial law, ooh-ee, all this fun and games. Just before these rumors come out, there was a book written by one of the SEALs about that supposedly contained classified information. And the problem is that the SEAL said, they threatened him. They're going, do legal action and play proctologist with his self. And the guy said, I don't think so. And the White House says, why not? Well, because if you play games with me, I'm going to out your secrets. That's why. Now, do you want to trade secrets, or do you want to just forget it? Lo and behold, they just forgot it. There's some other things go along with this. Obama's offered $500 billion in defense cuts. Now, this come up before, and the Defense Department said they can't sustain that, not and still maintain a viable fighting force. And they're correct. They're right at the edge right now in terms of they don't put no more increases in and leave it alone, they'll just break even basically. Well, that so you get this fun and games with disarming troops. You got the White House picking on the spec ops or special operations special forces, and then the boy has the audacity to go make a speech to some soldiers. And usually after the speech, there's you got this whoopity-doo, applause and all this sort of thing. This time it was silent. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. Now, silence can be deafening in some cases, and I believe this is one of those cases. You do not show honor to someone who is dishonorable. You got that, Obama? I want you to get that clear. Now, there's more. This just keeps on going. I mean, this is just a flood. Everybody heard of Mr. Eric Holder, the screw-up in the Justice Department? He got a little visit by consummate bad boy. The bad boy told him, we got some things to discuss. And all of a sudden, a CIA investigation about the torture and killing back in the day when they first started the Afghanistan-Iraqi war efforts was dropped. Interesting. And right following that, Sheriff Aparo, charges dropped. I wonder who and how much pressure you got to put on Mr. Holder. I mean, in order to accomplish that. You think about that real close. I mean, was this done at gunpoint, or how did it work? Or was the man told that, you ain't going nowhere? How about you go to jail or something? Now we got the DNC, Democratic National Convention. Now they get a thing called Jama'ah, and that Jama'ah is a worshiping by Muslims of a consummate leader. And they had this, they were expecting like 20,000 people to show up so that they could all go or whatever and bow to whomever or whatever and all this. They got 300. Not even the Muslims are interested. That's something to think about. And nobody's going. The only I don't know if I can call the guy a celebrity of any form or not. Bill Clinton's the only one that's really well known. You got other people like, I don't know, Sandra Flock. You remember her? She's the one that wanted to sue everybody over not getting enough condoms. I mean, good grief. And if you look at the numbers, you go to places and ask about it. It costs $200 a year to cover yourself, basically. And birth control don't usually come up, but in this case, I can't resist. This woman wanted $3,500. Now, there's a big difference between $200, which would cover things, and $3,500. Somebody referred to her as kind of floozy-like. In light of the difference of the costs, I'm sorry, but you're talking about a party favor. That's a serious problem here. This is the sort of people you're going to listen to speak. Now, what does she know about national events? What does she know about politics? What does she know about what's going on, really? I mean, I just give you, a few things. And you want to know a fact. If Obama does the martial law thing, they're going to take him out. That's already a given. They've already said so. He don't get to do that. And I don't know, how far people want to get into things, but I mean, the people that make a difference ain't there. If I don't tell you about who's looking at taking the office, I'm going to make a suggestion. I heard from a friend that validated a certain analyst, and the numbers are not what you see on TV. I'm going to tell you, quit watching TV. You ain't going to see diddly squat about a lot of this stuff, simply because they don't have the guts to do it, and they've been told not to by their controllers. Yeah, all the banks and people like that, we're going to come turn your switch off if you do that. And so they want to stay on the air and don't want their switch turned off, then they don't talk about it. So, where does this leave us? The report I got was that Romney's leading by 15 points. Now, presidential elections are won and lost on half a point, or adjudicated, such as George Bush and the dangling Chads down in Florida, which is illegal, by the way. Of course, the Justice Department didn't say nothing. They know better. They're part of the deal. So, what are you getting into here? You're getting into a load, and the load is all looking nasty. Now, the key to the RNC on that speech was that when Dirty Harry was talking and the message was delivered by the outlaw Josie Wales, that means that the intel community, the good guys, and there are quite a few of those, the special forces community, quite a bunch of them too, and something in the neighborhood of 75% and up of our military are with us. And the message and efforts were, they're going hot. That means that you have a hot landing zone, you have a hot operation, you can have gunfire, you can have all kind of fun and games. This is what this is pointing to. People do not understand the difference between a simple message and a complex message. They do not understand that people that are in a position of power and know what's going on recognize the message. They got it right off. There's no question. First of all, you got the empty chair. Then you got when somebody doesn't do the job, we've got to let them go. Come on now. I mean, just you tell me. Just how far does it need to go? The man's out. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. He bought some property. That ain't a secret. It's published. Bought some property in Hawaii. Now, does that ring a bell? Birth certificates and all this other happy whatever. If he gets there. Now, Obama's wife and the kids can live there. Maybe. Last I heard that people were checking around, couldn't find a country that wanted him. Yeah, they're looking at exiling his butt because of what he's done that is unconstitutional, that violates his oath of office, that obstructs justice, that are treasonous acts. I mean, the list goes on. And it ain't little. It's big. I mean, they got him nailed to the wall. So what I'm looking at is, people say ain't nothing happening. You all need to make sure that you're subscribed to the website. You'll start getting these things that are coming out. And I'll put them in a little more concise order. But I want you to think about that. The automatic cuts are supposed to take $500 billion off of defense. We're supposed to fund Obamacare out of Social Security and Medicare to the tune of $500 billion or more. I mean, when is the theft going to quit is my question. I mean, this is a retirement account. It ain't made for subsidizing somebody's ideas to what should be done. This is something that we paid for. They call it an entitlement. No, they need to get off that. They really do. I hate that word. Yeah. When I pay for something, I feel I'm entitled to it. So sorry, Charlie. Whether you don't like it or not makes me no difference. But the problem you've got is you've got everybody scared. Their family's been threatened, they've been threatened, whatever. So they won't take action. They're scared too. If they wasn't afraid of it, they'd be doing something. Some of the people that are decent and decided to try to make a difference are actually pushing things that might be able to make a difference. Trouble is they don't make it out of committee. Trouble is the bill gets guts taken out of it, so it doesn't do anything. It just talks nice. And there's a load of that's been going on for years. And what we're about in terms of the freedom part of this is that this government is done. It's out of control. It's suppressive. It meets all of the requirements named in the Declaration of Independence. And I would suggest somebody look at it. I think it's posted on the website, if I remember correctly. And so the military has, Obama pushed them over the top. They're done with it. If Obama does anything else stupid, which he might do, the other neat little rumor I heard was, and this was in the speech, how about we bring the troops home tomorrow? I want you to think about that. That's not a threat, that's a promise. It's a threatening promise, but it's a promise. You go screwing with us again, we're going to start backing up on you. And I know people just love that. It's the middle of the night, generally on a holiday or a Sunday, and the toilet backs up. Now, I want you to think about this politically, tactically, economically. What happens if the troops just are ordered home, period? Obama might try to stop it. No. If he does, I would imagine they'd probably remove him from office, relieve him of his command duties. Yeah, and you can do that. It's called sedition, and it's on the website. I put this stuff up there for two reasons. It only takes two people to remove somebody from office. Now, you do have to be within the represented areas of that person. That's part of it. Certain people come to this county, and I find out about it. I'm going to go get the sheriff. We're going to have a little arrest party. Ain't seen none of them yet, so apparently they got the message. They know where I live. I'm sure they do by now. I just had another black chopper go real slow across the front yard staring at the house. Well, that's okay as long as they're taking pictures. They do anything else funny, then they're going to have a problem. Which ain't neither here nor there. It don't really matter to me. But the thing is, yeah, there's a lot going on. And it ain't nice, and it ain't easy. And everything makes its greatest effort to get away from something that's killing it. Everybody's got to fight to be free. There are a lot of people who think that this might come easy. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a fair number, not that many, but a fair number, who are so ingrained in the system, who are so a part of it, so reliant on it totally, that they will fight to protect it even though it's going to destroy them and eat them up as well as everybody else. They may not understand it. They may not understand that if they would like to be out from under the oppression, if they'd like to be an individual that can stand on their own 2 feet and be proud of themselves, instead of the false pride of, ooh, I'm a bad boy, I'll wear a gun or, swagger around a lot or whatever, the Friday Night Rich group is a good example. And the more whiskey or beer they get, the badder they get. And you can tell that by the noise they make, generally, and that's usually what they amount to. there is an idea that we need a nanny state. We need people to take care. We need somebody else to lead. And leadership is simple. It's not difficult. You go after the absolute truth, don't accept nothing less, and get rid of anything that wants to mess with that. That's pretty easy. The difference is between a leader and someone who assumes leadership is that usually the leadership is earned in some way or another. And that leadership of the type, the real leadership is of the type where they care about the people. And I'm not talking about just you and me in terms of what we're talking about here. I'm talking about in terms of the difference between caring enough to take an action that is in conflict with whatever the program or thing of that nature might be. Now, there's some fun and games going on that really is a mind blower. And I just got a hot tip, and it's going to go on the website. U.S. halts some Afghan forces training after attacks. Now, 3 seconds after somebody got in the hand of a gun just recently, they fired on the people around them. Well, my goodness, what would you do about that? Personally, I wouldn't give the dink a friggin' loaded gun, for one thing. Hello? I mean, make sure that you can trust somebody you do have hand a loaded gun to. I mean, there's a lot of stuff goes into this, and they can be the most righteous thing in the world. And yet they turn right around 3 seconds later, open fire, automatic. Woohoo! You train them with a weapon, you train them with how to shoot, you give them a uniform and you give them a gun, bang. That does not sound like a good day to me. So, something you might want to be aware of, one of the people running around here is called the king. That's who's referred to as the person in charge of certain things. And what happens is that you're getting orders that are going out, and one of those orders is the one I just said, and I'll say it again. U.S. halts some Afghan forces training after attacks. It's on Yahoo News. So it's been published already. We'll put it up on the website, too, so everybody can find it, no problem. Does that tell you anything that the military might be a little upset with the standard operation procedure that's stupid and gets people hurt? Do you think it might have something to do with the plausibility of us even being engaged anywhere other than our own backyard? I mean, start thinking about this. Why have we got soldiers over there? Because some Richie has oil interests and would like to make them bigger? Because somebody wants to rip off a country for whatever is there of value? Pick one. It's a multiple guess question, and sometimes you got one at the end that says all of the above. This is not something that, this is not light duty. This is dead serious. The military has decided that our supposed commander-in-chief ain't exactly what he says he is. He is not doing the job. He ain't acting right, and he's getting people hurt in the process. Plus, we get this call to action, supposedly legal, that we can see that somebody else outside our country can call for us to go over there militarily and kick some butt. Well, I can understand if one of our allies is in trouble, somebody that's nasty is attacking them, and he needs some help. That's quite a bit different from just going over actually out in the open and just starting it. Now, you think about it. We invaded 2 sovereign countries. Part of that's drug money. I'm going to tell you that flat out. The only thing kept us from going down when we had our first fall was the amount of drug money. Yeah, think about that real close. The amount of drug money coming in was sufficient and sufficiently laundered in our country that it was able to keep it afloat. That's how big that is. So they ain't going to go easy. Ain't nobody going to give up a multi-billion-dollar operation where it's all cash, basically. Ain't nobody going to quit that. Not easy. So this ain't going to be easy. This is going to be a little bit difficult. I've told people to get out of the stock market. I've told people to get away from things that are paper, to include currencies, if you can. Get you a couple of weeks of junk silver, whatever you can afford to do. At the very least, hold some cash in your hand. And the reason I say this is that when the liens are called on the central banking system, it closes. Now, there are a lot of auxiliary banks that use the central banking system heavy. And this is places where you got limited deposits and a lot of cash movement. A lot of people run over there to get their paycheck cashed. Now, people are saying, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, you can either buy a little safe and hide it in a closet somewhere in a basement or something of that nature, or basically have everything held. Now, what you think about, if the doors ain't open and the teller machine is turned off, what does that mean? That means two things. Number one, you can't get in. Number two, you don't have access to your account. Number three, I bet you if somebody knows that bank's closed, you ain't going to be able to write a check on an account that they can't prove exists. Oops. Now, here's the other part. This won't last very long. You're only talking maybe a week, 2 weeks at the most. If it's closed that long, it might be only a few days. Depends on how quickly the correct actions are taken. If they are, you're probably talking 3 days, 3, maybe 5 at the most. You're not going to have an interruption in services that is extraordinarily critical to the point where you can't function at all. What you got is you've got a situation where, and I suggest this, try to find a bank that's independent. It may not have all those bells, whistles, and whatevers, but make sure that it is not tied real heavy to the Federal Reserve. This way your direct deposit, this way your bank card should still work. Now, I won't guarantee that the credit cards work either, because if they close the banking system, a lot of the electronic transfer of funds, credits available and things like that ain't going to be available. So if they take your credit cards, that means your plastic's gone. They close your bank up. You can either be sitting there with, I'd say look at 2 weeks, whatever your expense money would be on that basis. I'd hold that in cash. I'd cash my check, leave just enough in there. I'd go ahead and pay my bills, don't get me wrong. Now, those bills may be mitigated or turned off. And if they got the ready cash to cover what you paid, you may get that back. And that could be a credit card payment or whatever. So you're looking at extraordinary changes, and I just give you a list to keep you busy for a few hours looking at stuff. But like I said, there's going to be some heavy quickie posting under news on the website. Anybody that subscribes is going to get an instant email. People that aren't can go there and look it up. All the things I just said have got links and backing. I'm not going to put anything out that isn't either something that I absolutely have verified or something that is not being reported or ready to be reported. Now, there's some other extraordinary news I'm going to be coming out with I can't talk about yet. That's just as fun and games as today's show. Now, I give you, let's see here, 10, maybe 15 links, and I'm going to put them all up. And I'm going to put an explanation of Clint Eastwood's RNC speech. Everybody thinks that was podunk and, oh, that was ridiculous. Well, yeah, it was. He poked some fun at some things. I mean, you're looking at an empty chair, first of all. And then he goes, well, no, I can't do that. He can't do that to himself. And everybody knows what that was. Clint Eastwood's not stupid, in case you don't know. He's a pretty intelligent person. I have a fair amount of respect for the guy, actually, even though he did some squirrely movies. You can sit here and look at everything and wonder. And By the way, I want you to understand, now that one video by Valele, by the general, put everybody on notice, don't do anything else. That very same day that that video was released, the dinks in the White House did it again. So they declared war. It's just like that shot heard around the world that won at the Revolutionary War. Who pulled the trigger? It wasn't us. It was the other guy. And this is the way it's got to be. They get to pull the trigger. Now, so far, everybody's on high alert. I have issued an alert according to a request from what I call a war room. It's more like some people I talk to, and that was a request from people who know what's going on to a greater degree or detail than I do, and are directly involved in a lot of this. Now, think about this. Obama has been overruled by a general in the field. Now, think about that real close. You want to say the military is our enemies? I don't think so. And the other thing has come up a couple times about the foreign troops. I checked. I told people that I speak to heads of state and other important individuals in other countries, and so I point blank asked. I said, I need some confirmation. I need to hear it from the horse's mouth. And lo and behold, guess what? I got told by certain officials that know directly about the Russian and Chinese troops. They're here to help us. Yeah. Ain't that neat? And you're gonna have to take my word for it, because I'm not gonna expose these people to problems. Every time somebody gets exposed, I don't know if you notice this, they have accidents and they go crazy and kill themselves, or every time somebody is in a position to do something, say one of their kids goes nuts and shoots up a movie theater. Yeah, think about that. Now, you want to talk about intimidation? You know, there it is in spades, real. Don't get much more real than that. You got some poor dude that's so goofy-fied that I would check his sanity before he stood trial in front of me if I was a judge. You got people that don't remember what happened and say, what am I doing standing here? And he don't have nothing in his hand, but, ooh, got 50 police there going to take him down because he just tried to kill everybody. I did. How come I can't remember it? Well, they got little things that people are used to. It's called brainwashing. It's been done for years. You talking about an old movie? Frank Sinatra did one called The Manchurian Candidate. Look at that. That was back in the day when they did not have the modern drugs, where they did not have the modern techniques, where they did not have what's called computer learning. Oh, yeah. They get you in a certain state of mind with a certain drug, slap a little bracelet around your head, and they can transmit knowledge from the computer directly into your brain and make up memories or anything else they might like. I want you to think about that real close. I mean, these technologies have been there forever. The original idea behind what they call brain learning or direct learning was to help people who had learning difficulties. They would have to adjust the location of the little head band that they put on. They would have to adjust the manner in which they talked between the computer and the brain itself. But you could take somebody who had no capability of learning and allow them to learn. Now, what you think about that? How many retarded people we got? How many people that just can't quite get there? How many people are on assistance because they can't do anything? Would they like to be productive? Most of them would. My adopted son's one. He's in a group home. It's heartbreaking to see that kid try things, not be able to do it. I've heard him scream. I've seen him cry because he's trying to tie his shoes. Now, you think about that. You want to get into the heart of it. Well, anyway, so Holder's been told what to do with himself, and I understand he was not in good condition after the meeting. Something about soiled underwear, as I understand it. So you got Dirty Harry telling him, go ahead, make my day, and the outlaw Josie Wales delivered a message. The military's going hot. And I'm telling you, you do not countermand the commander-in-chief's orders. He ordered people to stand down. Take the magazine out of the weapon. You know, don't have no lock and load. And General Allen come back. Thank you, General Allen, and said, lock and load. We're in a war zone. You know, that's ridiculous. And then General Dempsey, I'm not sure which side of the fence that boy's on. If they shot his plane full, if somebody fired our rockets into the side of his plane, that might be a message that maybe he's screwing up, and maybe he needs to get his stuff straight. And there are people on the wrong side. Don't get me wrong. There are people that are in different varying positions that are on the wrong side. So that's pretty much my little spiel for the day. I'd like, you know, anybody wants to add to that or expand on it, you go right ahead.
Drake, I just wanted to make one quick thank you, and I'm sure Rick probably has something to say. I want to thank one of our members. Her name is Hope Moore, Moore, and she wrote an article called While You Were Asleep, The Story of the 2012 Revolution. It has been posted to our Facebook page. And the easiest way to find it is if you do a Google search for Hope Girl 2012, and because it's a blog and it's a rather long address, web address. But if you search for Hope Girl 2012 on Google and then look for her article entitled While You Were Asleep. It is excellent. I want to thank her on behalf of all of us on Global Voice 2012, and everyone should read it. It's phenomenal.
I second that.
Thank you, Grammy. And I would like to go ahead and open the floor to our wonderful Mr. Minuteman and see what Mr. Minuteman has to say. I was hoping, Minuteman, you might have some news on Charles Dyer and what is happening there, if we've had any response, you know, from our listeners, and how that's going as well. So, welcome.
Well, I believe Charles is holding up the best he can, you know, considering the circumstances. It's not easy to be in prison, crime you didn't commit, but he's holding faith that, you know, people out there will understand that, you know, he got railroaded and he needs help. He's cried out for help. So, well, I talked to Mrs. Dyer this morning. So far, she doesn't seem to have heard from anybody in particular. And I really hope that our listeners email the Rutherford Institute, other people that they may think may help. You get one or two emails in about a certain subject, folks, well, it's easy to walk over those subjects. But if you get 300 emails or more concerning a certain subject, well, it starts to get attention. And I just hope that our listeners will remember that. Please email the Rutherford Institute on behalf of Charles Dyer and his mom and his dad and his family and his friends, if you haven't done that already. It's up to you, folks. These veterans need our help. There's more than just Charles Dyer out there. We got another fella in West Virginia, National Guard guy, just jogged down the road with a airsoft gun, ended up in jail over it as a terrorist. So we got some issues, and I hope our listeners are ready to address those issues, folks. That's how you get freedom done. That's how you make sure they understand they're not going to get by with the bad things that they do to us and our veterans. Stand with them. Yeah, you got to stand with those people, folks. I know a lot of people say, well, you know, them soldiers, they're going over there and fighting them wars that we just don't believe in. Well, don't blame them, folks. They're not the ones that made the decision to go over there. Other people did, and you signed on the dotted line when they joined the military. So let's salute them, and let's realize that they're just carrying out their oath. They're just doing what they said they would do. We won't blame them for the wars. We'll blame the ones that create the issues that cause the wars. and the intent in which they do that, which we all know is financially driven. Anyway, folks, another quick note on voting. Here lately, I've seen where some people are going around saying, well, a vote for anybody other than so-and-so will Obama. Folks, that's voting manipulation. And it breaks my heart to see patriots do that to one another. For all those that want to vote, you go out and you vote. You vote for who you want to. I don't care who that is. You know, it isn't our voting practices that bring us together as patriots, folks. It's our quest for freedom that should be the main discussion on that. So, look, folks, don't go around there pushing each other around over who's going to vote for who. Just know that, well, you've got the right to vote, and if you're going to vote, we'll get out there and you vote when you feel like you need to.
Absolutely. Minuteman, I have one of our listeners that has a very juicy piece of little information he wants to share with us, and I'm going to bring him on, Drake. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Listener, you are live.
Thank you. From sources we consider reliable, it seems that Ms. Pelosi got arrested yesterday, and that is not classified information. Seems that she can swear like any bosun's mate when pressed to the wall.
Is that wonderful?
Yeah, there's also been a couple of the senators from New York that's finding themselves eating failed food right now, too. It's interesting. We're hoping that Hillary ends up there, too.
Yeah.
Do you have a confirmation on that at your end?
Yes, we do. I'll have my wife put it in global voice in the group.
She'll look great in stripes.
Yes, it has been confirmed that,
I don't know if all those facelifts will hold up. She better have a conference with Phyllis Diller posthumous.
Absolutely.
If Phyllis
All right,
Diller
thank you. That's it from this end of the world.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see if I can verify it with my intel sources.
That came from my normal source, Drake.
Okay, well that's no problem. I'll
as arresting officer.
Huh?
As arresting officer.
Oh my God.
I'll see if I can get jail in that case.
That is great. That's good news. That puts a smile from ear to ear on most of our faces, I'm sure.
I guess that doesn't need to be vetted, huh?
No. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a suggestion now at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
I was looking at let's see here, Tom Petty's refugee song, and maybe follow that up with Dream On. Think we can do that?
Yeah, or I have a couple of others that you had requested for today, but either way, Drake, I can do that. Let's see.
It takes a little time to get them up there, Drake.
I know that.
You got to get it in the morning. We can get it up there if you get it to us at the beginning of the show.
I can't even get on the show at the beginning of the show. You want to try that one again? When I've got 18 announcements and I have to go hunting around for them, sometimes it gets a little bit fun. Now, to go along with that, I've been averaging 2 to 5 international calls with different people a day. And some of those run 2-4 hours. You don't know. And I'm not going to tell the head of state, screw off. I got a internet radio show, and you ain't that important. I don't do that. So, I apologize if it is an inconvenience, but there are people that I do need to communicate with, and that's part of the problem. So, but if we can run both those songs, I sure would appreciate it.
If you're having trouble getting connected to it with one telephone, just try and connect to it with 2 board control screens, 2 simulcast screens, 2 Skype connections, and 5 Skype message windows. Just try that.
That usually happens about 30 seconds before I'm supposed to call in.
You're making me want to talk to an empty chair.
Exactly.
I want one too.
I've got 3 in front of me, and they're all full. I need another monitor just to run this show.
Oh, well, we'll see what we can do about that. You got those songs, Denise?
I got them. We're going to take a couple-minute break, everybody, and everybody go get refreshed, get a refreshment, and we'll be right back.
Denise, did you want me to kick off in the beginning?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you want me to kick off in the beginning? I can do that.
Oh, yeah, can you do that?
Sure. Let's kick it
Okay.
off. Beginning, and lovely to see you here, the Moody Blues.
Okay, and we are back. I apologize for the lengthy break, but we have information flowing like a river, like the Mississippi. I would like to repeat that our call-in number is area code 646-716-4984, and we will be accepting some calls. However, we're going to take primarily rapid-fire questions from our email and our chat rooms, and particularly because of Blog Talk issues that we continue to have, we try to cover the calls as much as possible. But if you really have a question that you really want to try to get in, I suggest that you either put them in the chat or send them in the email to either onefreepeople@gmail.com or drakeanswers@gmail.com also. So, with that said, Minuteman, did you have anything more you wanted to share before we start our Q&A, or Drake, or Grammy?
Other than let's stand for freedom and let's get her done.
My head is still spinning about Nancy Pelosi, and I can't wait to see a link on that.
Yeah, you know how our mainstream media works, and they're probably going to try to keep that under wraps as long as humanly possible, I'm sure.
Well, I find it very interesting that the caller stated that the info came from one of the arresting officers or the arresting officer?
The arresting officer, yes. Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't get better than that.
No, it doesn't. And everyone can hear. I have a kitten that I have named Freedom, and Freedom is ringing. She's singing.
Is she singing that?
She is singing. She is telling everybody, "Let freedom ring."
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
He also said that it was top secret. Also, didn't he?
I'm sorry. He said no. Drake, didn't he say that is not confidential information? It's
Okay. Hold on, relax. Anything that's been put out, doesn't matter what it is, of that type is very rarely classified. If you hear about it at all, it's not classified. Now, confidential means you don't want to put it in the press. That's the first level of encryption in terms of something that is classified. So, no, this isn't. And I talked to the man, and he's going to be talking to people who can send us first dibs on videos and things of that nature. So we're going to have a few little extra postings.
Oh, that'll work.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely. Okay, are we ready for some questions? Oh, and I also, again, I want to repeat, you can call in on area code to listen in, and it will go into the overtime. Call in on 559-726-1300. That's 559-726-1300. And then that's a conference line, and then the PIN is 489454. That's 489454. Okay, ready for some questions, Drake?
Take your best shot.
Hit you with our best shot, right?
Rapid fire.
Okay. All right. Hello, Drake. In a previous show, you agreed when asked if the Venus Project and Jacques Fresco are part of the coming changes. Can you elaborate on that?
I would rather have people look things up like that, simply so that we don't have to get involved with a whole lot of looking things up and et cetera. The comment is, look it up, please. Next.
Okay. In one of her videos, Julia May has mentioned a light energy wave that is coming. Can you cast your own light on this as to when this may happen? Also, according to her, the way she explained this, most of us may not survive it.
First of all, the destructive horse hockey is just that. I hate to bust everybody's bubble, but there's a combination of things going on. Now, you may notice a running ripple effect that will look something like northern lights at the most. Okay, now this is a huge energy wave, and yes, it's coming, and it's pretty much got us surrounded basically at this point. Supposedly before that, we're supposed to have an asteroid. Now, that is going to be Nibiru, Planet X. Well, it kept changing its whatever down to where it's I'd say medium-sized asteroid, and it's not going to come anywhere near hitting us, and it's going to help us get to where we're supposed to be going. So what you have is a mistranslation of several ancient languages, the ancient language of the Aztecs that the Maya used, the misinformation that people have attributed to the Mayan calendar and things of this nature. Now, as I have stated on other shows, you got a positive and negative timeline. It is easier to pick up on a negative timeline than it is a positive one. And this is the reason that you get the destructive notations by certain people who are seers, etc. Next question.
Okay. Drake, do you know about Cobra and the light worker recruiting?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, good answer. Okay. Drake, on your Wednesday broadcast, can you please clarify what all of this back and forth tug of war might be about? I'm having a difficult time making sense of it.
It depends on who you're talking about tugging on what. There's an extraordinary spiritual war going on right now that people can't even see because it's spiritual. You got to remember this. You know, ghosties ain't always visible. Then you got this fun and games we got going on the ground right here that we are beginning to fight back against the standard operational procedure that causes problems. And these problems are all going to get done in the wash. We're getting ready to put the thing on spin cycle and see what pops out. Next.
Okay. As we move into the fourth dimension, what immediate changes can we expect, and do you have any idea how long this might take? Physical effects, mental effects, etc.
Well, what you're going to find is you're going to become a little more aware of things. You're going to become a little more aware of, people talk to petunias and the like, so it's going to be a little extraordinary in that, from what I understand, it's possible that they could answer back. Now, that would be a mind blower for a lot of people, but think about it. Think about the cat taking issue with you messing with it to play with it. Think about the dog complaining that he don't like the same dog food all the time or something of this nature. I mean, this can get comical. Primarily what's going to happen from 3 to 4 is the psychic, spiritual, awakening, awareness is going to get boosted. So people will be able to know what another person's intentions are before they even walk up to them, know what they're thinking. You have a feeling about it. A lot of people are able to do this, and these are the types of things that you'll be aware of dangers, whatever. As I said, the awareness, your ability to be able to know what's going on before something happens is going to be heightened, along with all the others. Next.
Okay. Drake, had you checked the AndromedaCouncil.com website about the Silver Comet? I wonder if that would be the same thing.
Yes, it is the same thing. That's the Nibiru deal, and yeah, I know about it, and the information is sort of okay. Next.
Okay. According to your post on AmericanNationalMilitia.com, my state of Arkansas does not allow write-in votes for presidential elections. So if I do write in Ron Paul, anyway, will my vote be counted at all? If not, what else can we do? I do not want to vote for either Obama or Romney.
Okay, quite simply, my understanding is that that's the truth, and in order to not take the time to go fighting with all that, my suggestion is that Ron Paul's probably going to run on an independent ticket. And what that does is that's already available in all 50 states, so that shouldn't be a problem. If he goes independent, then you have a candidate that's on the ballot, et cetera, and can run accordingly. Next.
Okay. With all of the troubles that Neil Keenan is having, i.e. trust issues and possible injury, will this keep him from refiling the lawsuit and slow the freedom movement?
Absolutely not. I talk to the man daily, and the stuff you've heard about him being injured are BS. He does have a little bit of a health issue that's being attended to. Next.
Okay, but he was not thrown from the balcony as reported.
Oh, no.
Okay.
He was in bed a few miles away from there, and I'd like to know how you throw somebody out. It don't work. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Can you give us a general estimation of time frame on when we should close out 401k type accounts? I mean, would it be within weeks or days, or perhaps, a general estimate of time? Because, they have to pay the penalties and everything else on 401ks.
Yeah, I will suggest that you if you got a big 401k or you're a high earner, check with your accountant and start the action now. If you are an independent small-time worker, and I'm not talking about that you're insignificant, I'm saying that the paycheck's a lot less, but you're participating. And I don't like the idea of penalties and whatnot, and you're going to end up being penalized in one form or another anyway. And I would suggest having something in your hand rather than something that don't exist might be a good idea. So I suggest that you do not leave anything that is vulnerable to either an extraordinary shift in the makeup of the financial world, or the fact that the bank closes, or the fact that your company, I want everybody to understand this, when they go out of business or they decide to go overseas or something of this nature, they can play games with your retirement account. And one of the big brokerage firms already took everybody's money and paid their bills and declared bankruptcy. Now, so if times are tough and times are hard, you don't want to get a Christmas card saying, see, what you want to do is accept the penalty. Get yourself clear. There are other ways to invest that money that won't incur problems, but my suggestion is that you have something holding your hand, and I'm talking about junk silver, gold, a real commodity. Now, gold's going to run through your fingers, so that might not work too well. Investing however you can in whatever you might need over a 2-3 week period where you got some funny deliveries or things of this nature, that is the idea behind this. Now, the other factor is that most 401ks, retirement plans, things of this nature are invested in stocks. Now, the stock market right now, it says 13-something. I'm going to tell you it's worth about half that or less. That's actual value. You got what's called multiple of earnings. You take a $5 stock and turn it into a $25 stock. Somebody's getting over on somebody. Take your money out of the stock market. Take your money out of bonds. Do not invest in any kind of derivatives unless you're totally insane. And put that money into something that you have an intrinsic value given by its existence. That's gold and silver. You can invest in other metals, but gold and silver are accepted as currencies worldwide. This is why I recommend them. If you don't got a lot of money, silver is your better bet. It's less expensive. And junk silver goes according to a percentage of the weight of the coin. These are American minted coins, if you can find them. Now, everybody started buying this stuff up not too long ago. So if you don't get in there now and get what you need, you're liable to be sitting there going, now what do I do? So,
may I interject something here, Drake, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can also prepay not your mortgage, because that may change overnight, but you can prepay your utility bills, your cable bills, your phone bills, your water bill, things like that. That will also help you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Ready for another question? Okay, Drake, let's see. Let's see. this is a question actually for Grammy J. During your last broadcast, Grammy J mentioned something about Ron Paul and Freedom Papers. What exactly was she talking about?
Freedom Papers?
Yeah.
Maybe she was referring to the paperwork that the majority of the states did lawfully to reclaim America's freedom back in February.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was.
Yes, apparently that person is not familiar with that paperwork.
Correct.
That started at the end of last year for the listener, and the majority of the states did paperwork as per the instructions in paragraph 2 of the Declaration of Independence, and we basically reclaimed America's freedom in writing, and now we're working on literally doing that. I'm not sure what she's asking about Ron Paul.
Yeah, I don't know. It probably had something to do with, like I said, I was in the midst of the hurricane and everything, and I didn't catch the statement. But anyway,
we do know that Ron Paul has been treated wrongly. He got a lot more votes than what they're registering.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Next question. Okay. Drake, have we seen this strange Illuminati clock that runs backwards with some sort of weird symbols on it that's been being posted? It counts down backwards to stop the count on September 9th of 2012. Of course, mainstream isn't saying anything about it. And then they show that it seems to coincide with the opening ceremony in London for the Paralympic Games at the same facilities where the Olympic Games were. And the ceremony seems similar in nature to the London Olympics, full of occult and satanic ritual imagery. And then the closing ceremony will be on that date, September 9th. We wonder if there could be a connection with the Illuminati clock and a possible false flag event planned for September 9th at the Paralympics. Or could it be that there is something else that the clock is pointing to on September 9th? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, that's a very complicated question, but very simply, you have thingamabobs that are not nice. And by that I mean we are on the menu. These things are not from our planet. And I don't care who don't like this, but I finally had enough of not beating around the bush with it. You have to understand something. That is that the bad guys that are doing it to us are the ones who decided to put together most of the base religious books and belief systems we have. And that is something to really consider. What if is the question. And what if what you have been told or what you've been taught is not exactly the way things work? Number two, anything that is adverse to our well-being, peace of mind, etc., is exactly what they'll do and exactly what they'll use in order to cause us stress, strain, and problems. When a person is under stress, strain, and problems or in pain, they produce an energy that these things feed off of. Oops. There was a Star Trek episode about that. Everybody went to fighting everybody and everything. And this thing just got healthier and it was just having a good time. Everybody else was not having such a good time. This is basically the parameter, or this is the area in which you're talking about. As far as the backward clock, well, this goes to the upside down cross and all this other happy stuff that is all occultism. Occultism is a form of what would be called black magic. Black magic is intended to be used by a person who will eventually become a part of the menu. In other words, they're going to eat you up somewhere or another. And this is the idea. Ooh, there's a woolly booger hiding under the bed. Little kids have that problem with monsters in the closet. This is what this is. Nothing more, nothing less. It's something to watch or keep an eye on, but nothing to be concerned about. Next question.
Okay. Drake, is it true that 425,000 NATO troops have been sent here over the last 7 years and that they're living in military bases that were closed under the Bush administration? Are they being paid to just live there or in these closed bases until they're activated?
Well, what you got to understand is NATO gets their troops from everybody else. They are not a freestanding entity that can do that. The other part of it is that if these things are hiding out, and I say things because they have to be something other than something that's good for us, if these things are hiding out, that would have come up on my radar. I've already got the location through intelligence sources that stipulate where everything is at. Consequently, I have not been informed of this specifically. That does not mean that somebody couldn't go in there and kind of hide out and look like they are all right. I've stipulated this before, and I'll say it again. If you see United Nations soldiers in United Nations uniforms under their banner, under their emblem, I would call that a free fire zone. And I want everybody to think about that. There's not enough of them to effectively handle just the general population, let alone our military, etc. So I would not be too concerned. Next.
Okay, everybody's saying get the man back on that told us about Pelosi, but I regret I regret that the man was calling from overseas and he had to drop. He is not with us. He's probably listening, but he's not live online right at the moment. So, but we want to thank him for calling in, most definitely. Okay, next question. Sorry, Drake, give me just a minute here. I'm juggling.
That's fine.
One of those days. Okay, regarding recent dates passing with no major events happening, can we expect Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh, and mainstream media to soon begin reporting these upcoming events that are to transpire as we thought maybe they would back in March or April?
Well, here's how it is. Some of the stuff that we've been reported today are the kind of things that can't be ignored. It's going to have to come out in the news that Pelosi got popped. If it don't, everybody on the internet is going to know what's up. So in the near future, yes, things will change. As for right now, I'm not too sure, but we're going to start advertising for everybody and see where it goes. This is called pressure. If you start badgering certain newsrooms, be that Fox or whomever you want to pick on, about these things, well, we heard that she was arrested, or whatever you want to say, whichever one of these topics you want to pick on, then they're going to have to report it eventually.
Okay.
So, go from there.
All right, people are going to start comparing me to Lady Dragon with my kitten. Okay. Sam was a lot more vocal, though, than Freedom. Okay, okay, let's see. And by the way, hello to Lady Dragon and her bird, Sam. Haven't heard from Lady Dragon in a while. Okay, let's see. All right. If the plan for all of this was created back in the 70s, Drake, why was 9/11 ever allowed to happen?
Well, first of all, that's a bogus date. I gave that date to keep it from being easily figured out, but I also stated that's from the Korean War era. 9/11 was perpetrated by the present administration, specifically George Bush and others. It was specifically done for two reasons. They intended to try to cause everybody to go crazy and riot in the streets so they could declare martial law. That did not work. And the second part of the plan, known as Homeland Security Act, was implemented, which took all of your rights away. I don't know if you've noticed, but this goes along with Homeland Security. Well, how about we bring our troops home, and that ought to secure the homeland. Next. Uh-oh.
That was good.
She must be hunting for something.
She is.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I had a caller calling me. Okay, the caller ID. Okay, let's see. Sorry. Let's see, Drake. During the transition currently being experienced, how might bonds, such as Treasury bill bonds, fare?
They probably won't do much better than stocks. What I'm trying to express to you is that this is a restructuring. That does not necessarily mean that you're gonna have a piece of paper that will be honored in terms of value.
Okay.
When you understand that the corporate government, along with its banking system, is no longer going to be in existence, I want everybody to understand that. It's getting wiped out, period. Then, a corporate bond or a municipal bond or any other type of investment medium or certificate may not have any value when you get done. This is especially true of credit default swaps. Those are the same people that bet against stocks so the stocks won't go down, or whatever. Or, will we get a credit default swap activation when Greece goes into trouble? What they did was they propped Greece up with credit default swaps, and nobody can understand what they are, even how they work or any of that. Basically, it's supposed to be an insurance deal, and they're betting against whatever and bring around the rosy. So I'll say it again: do not leave your investments in paper. Get something you can hold in your hand. Next.
Okay. Good morning, Drake and Denise. When do you think we will get the executive orders of debt forgiveness, the executive order of income tax removal, and many more?
That's going to come about after the people that are in office are removed. Now, from what I understand, the parameters have changed, and they're looking at going ahead and having the election. In the meantime, Mr. Romney has changed some of the things that he had been doing and getting away with, and decided to fess up and decided to come clean, so to speak. And this, to me, puts him in a viable position. Ron Paul, same sort of deal. If he runs as an independent on the independent ticket, he's available in all 50 states. That solves the problem of worrying about write-in candidacy. So, I would pick the better of the two. Which one do you think would be the best? Now, Ron Paul's come out with solutions, and so has Mitt Romney's running mate. And you can look at those and figure, which is which. The main thing you got to remember is this: the difference between having an exact plan of any kind of continuation of what we've got now and a completely new plan or structure is a big difference. And you have to make that decision on your own. Next.
Okay. The president of Iceland did remove all mortgage debt already and other kinds of debt. Why can't we do it here right away?
We can if we get somebody that is not controlled. Next.
Okay. A few weeks ago, you said that Alex and Rush had been notified, but neither of them have made a peep. Let's see. Okay, well, that was just a statement, not a question. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Do you view the airing of the Series V, which has had its violent bits regarding the landing of ETs, as psyops?
Anything that shows ET in a bad light, I would suggest is BS. The reason I state that is that I talk to them regularly. Yeah, I do. Now, I know them to be a part of our effort to be free, non-interfering with how we do this, but to accomplish certain goals. You get the bad guys out, you get rid of them, and that is going to free up everything. And you can look forward to meeting these ETs, angels, whatever you want to call them, in not the too distant future. Next.
Okay. Gordon Duff indicates that around 40 million Americans are, quote, in the way, unquote. Comment?
He's right in some ways, but if we restructure correctly, then that will evaporate. Next.
Okay. Let's see. Wikipedia says the official of International Treasury Control, OITC, is a seemingly elaborate fraudulent organization which claims to be associated with the United Nations and the Federal Reserve. It has attempted to deceive people and organizations in Ecuador, Fiji, and the United Kingdom. The UN and Federal Reserve have denied any knowledge or connection with OITC. Your comments?
Well, the OITC, from what I understand, is what has been stated there, and the second part of it goes to the fact that they would affiliate with the United Nations in any way, shape, or form, or be under any kind of system, such as our governmental system. That sort of puts them in light of the bad guys, in my opinion. Anything that would attempt to continue with something that has been proven a failure, other than when you have absolute control over somebody, also goes contrary to everything that we're working about. So, you know, I'm not going to denigrate the OITC because there's probably some good people in there thinking they're doing the right thing, just like there are in the UN and other places. Like I said, the basic structure is going to have to change dramatically, and it's coming. You're going to have to be patient with us, but it's coming. Next. Okay.
According to the Patriot and Sovereign community, the Declaration of Independence made all sovereign kings and queens. We sovereigns formed the government. The government can't tell the sovereigns what to do unless they cause harm to another. The government can write rules, statutes for itself. Is that the way it's going to be?
To an extent, yes. But the thing is that you have to understand that the ideology of being a king or queen is going to have to change to the simple term of sovereign. A person that is sovereign has the choice of the freedom of will, believe or not, as you so choose, plus participate or not as you so choose. And this is offered in everything. This includes the ascension we're coming to in terms of changing our basic area in which we exist. You will have a choice. Yes, yay, nay, go or stay. And if you decide that you don't want to change it, you like what you're experiencing in this particular environment we have right now, there will be accommodations made for you. If you're curious enough and you want to see the golden age and you'd like to participate in it, you know, get on board. You already got your ticket. Next.
Okay. Okay, Drake, if the Federal Reserve is a private corporation, why does the president choose the chairman and vice chairman?
Because he's the head of the corporation. Next.
Okay, my granddaughter will graduate this year in biomedical engineering and will go on to a master's program. She just spent a year working as a co-op at a company that is researching how to grow needed organs like hearts, livers, and kidneys for specific people. Can she and people like her be plugged into the new technology which surpasses this right away? Will universities be brought up to speed in the many disciplines quickly?
Absolutely, and I look forward to the fact that we can take somebody who's lost a leg or an arm or whatever and has serious problems and fixing it. Next.
Okay. Orchestra conductors and composers have great difficulties with current music publishing systems. All are getting screwed. Almost everything is rented. The prices are high. The composers get very little of it. The service is terrible. The music itself is in very bad shape, almost unreadable. Only the largest orchestras can afford to play music written after 1922. Can that system be unwound?
I would imagine so. If we're going to make the extraordinary changes everywhere else, I don't see what's, you know, why leave music and arts out of it? Next.
Okay. Much of the history that people need to know so that this current criminal behavior can be taught through books, novels, plays, and operas, as well as universities. Shakespeare's and Schiller's plays teach a lot of history. Will funding be set up to commission these needed works? And will steps be taken to avoid the corruption of our culture by things such as Tavistock and the Frankfurt School?
Yes, and I can say that the true history of our planet and other things is being worked on as we speak on several different levels. Next.
Okay. The patent system was set up to encourage inventions by giving the inventors exclusive rights for 17 years. Then the invention becomes public. The patent system has been corrupted so that with a little fancy footwork, the patent will go on forever. Also, Mother Nature has been taken away from the public and privatized. Will patents be returned to their original constitutional basis?
Primarily, yes. Now, there are different takes on exactly how that will be implemented, and it is also something where, as I stated, the difference in our society may make a difference in even needing patents, and you have to really think about that one. So go from there.
Okay.
Next.
All right. The purpose of the Federal Drug Administration, FDA, is effectively to prevent small business from competing with big pharma and other aspects of big medicine by putting very expensive obstacles in the way. The FDA says, no, we're doing this for your safety. This will be corrected, right?
Yeah, and that line that they use, for your safety, has been abused. I'm going to see if we can't get it deleted from the English language. It's political speak, it's politically correct, and most people are fed up to their eyeballs with that. Next.
Okay. John Moore said that the Obama government was going to collapse the stock market, then the dollar, on the third week of October. He said that Russia and China were going to help our government control the people. He knows who is going to lose the election, so is going to take over this way and wait a minute, what do you think?
Well, I think that Obama and certain other people in the administration are so out of touch that they don't understand that it's over. Number two, they don't have the power and capability, manpower or otherwise, to accomplish the goals that they've set forth. Number three, if at any point any of the administration decides to act stupid and decide that they're in charge, absolutely, you will have a combination of 75% of the military, both Chinese and Russian forces, and all the militias coming to visit. Now, I would suggest that they do this peaceably. If they're interested in a dogfight, then when we get to your office, you be sure and be ready, and you will be provided with whatever you've decided. Next.
Okay. All right. I'll let my staff know I'm going to get to the Skype questions here in just a second. If all else fails, could we bring a class action lawsuit against the IRS for the return of our taxes that have been illegally demanded? The IRS is not a government agency, and there is no law on the books that requires us to pay income taxes / Social Security. Your thoughts?
Well, my suggestion is that the IRS is going to be done away with anyway, first of all. Number two, whether or not you can recoup whatever you paid in terms of that is questionable. Number three, I would suggest that if we have the correct take on how to produce funding, nobody will have to pay any form of tax, and the military, certain programs such as Social Security, etc., can be funded through what's known as a trading platform. And these are my suggestions in order to make sure that the funding is available. Nobody has to worry about it. You're going to have a certain amount of money to deal with. You stay within that budget, you're fine. You go outside of it, you got a problem. Not the people. They've been making us buy lunch, and it's not the people's turn this time. It's your turn. Next.
Okay. All right. Drake, do you have any idea what Mr. Trump was supposed to announce at the RNC and why he did not?
Yeah, I know why he didn't. He was threatened. Number two, he doesn't have the guts it takes to tell him to screw off. Number three, he's a financier, and that means he's kind of vulnerable financially in a lot of ways. The other part of it is that the same message he was going to deliver was delivered a little bit differently by someone whose career would not be directly affected by the delivery of that particular information. Clint Eastwood is, first of all, an old man. Number two, he's basically run his course primarily in a lot of his career. And the other part of it is that I think he was having a lot of fun. Next.
I think so, too. Okay, Drake, will the RV take place this month in September, or maybe by October, or not until January?
I get that question a lot. When's the RV? When's the RV? I just had a long discussion with some people that are principal in the RV. Let's see if I can find that here in my notes. I know it's in here somewhere. Oh, here we go. All right. Right now, you got a person known as Big O who has reneged. This was supposed to happen a couple of days ago. I'm gonna let it out. Obama is standing on your plug and keeping this from happening. Okay. Bush Sr. has told him to do so. Now, if that don't tell you who he's involved with, then you're going to have to just guess at everything. I'll suggest that as soon as these things are taken care of, in terms of being curtailed, and that can happen before the election, and his handlers, Mr. Bush Sr. and whomever else might be involved, when they are forced to let go, then I guess we'll see. Right now it's up in the air, and I'm going to tell you again, Obama stepped on it by orders of Bush Sr. So we just got to wait and see how it can be worked out. Next.
Okay. Okay, just a minute. I'm trying to grab a whole bunch more questions here from the chat. Okay. All right. Excuse me, folks. All right, Drake. I'd like to know how the healing technology will affect people who have already had organ transplants. Will the transplants be removed when our own non-working body parts are healed via this new technology? And if so, how would that work?
Well, that's a good question. If you got one in there that is basically okay, and your body's not rejecting it, I don't see any reason not to keep it, especially if you give it a tune-up. So I would imagine these machines are capable of doing that, making sure that there is no rejection of the organ and things like that, so you can go ahead and function without a problem. Next.
Okay, Drake, have you read about Norway forgiving 90% of their mortgage debt back in 2007, not Iceland?
Yes, I have. Next.
Okay. Drake, do you know anything about the Keshe Foundation's release of free energy device on September 21st?
Yes. They're already releasing some of that now. You can put in pre-orders if you want, if you can afford that. My suggestion is that I don't want to put that kind of money out, so I'm looking at one that I build myself. I understand they offer kits. They're a lot less pricey than the finished model, and I want to study the plans anyway because it says that the thing has to be fueled, and I want to know why. Normally, a free energy device does not have to be refueled. Next.
Okay. Is the itty-bitty asteroid that was going to miss Earth by 500 million miles, is it actually heading away from Earth?
It's on a cross pattern with the Earth. It's not going to get any closer than 400,000 miles, give or take. It's supposed to be the signet or signature of God between man and creation, just like the rainbow is. I will not pledge you out. Same deal. Only this is a different one. This is one that deals directly with spirituality, and you're being raised up into the next dimension. You're going from 3D to 4D. Next.
Okay. Drake, wondering about the face recognition and Northcom. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, there's quite a few Chinese and Russian forces up there in that area watching them, and they have been told that they are being watched. And Northcom had best be on its best behavior if they do not want visitors. So therefore, yeah, I'm familiar with face recognition and all that. Traffic cameras do that, if you want the truth. So, you know, don't worry about all of the security stuff is going to be negated. Nobody really needs it if people are on their good behavior. People that are not, they will be taken away. It's not a problem. Next.
Okay. All right, Drake, do you think the cabal would possibly assassinate Obama in order to try and start a race war?
Well, absolutely. They've already tried to play the race card on numerous occasions. And I don't personally care what color, nationality, creed, or whatever a person is who's in the White House. I'm going to state that quite clearly. So long as, and this is going to wrinkle some starch. It's a subject that keeps coming up. Obama can be whatever he wants, as long as he's willing to abide by our original founding documentation, the direct and absolute direction in which our country should go according to those documents, and the manner of operation, again, according to those documents. Now, anybody, and I'm gonna hit this because it deals with this. Anybody who wants to come to America should be expected to assimilate into our society. This does not mean surrender every friggin' thing that you are. What it means is that you need to speak English. It means that you need to be a part of our society, a productive part. Nobody owes anything squat, period, unless you have a disability that is compensated for because you were in the process of service to the country, as an example, or something else that caused you to get into that condition. Anybody, and I don't care if it's a Muslim, I don't care if it's a Latino, I don't care who it is, who objects to that, I got one question for you. And this was pointedly asked by a friend of mine. I just got one little simple thing. And it's also complex because it's going to make a whole bunch of people mad, and I hope everybody gets mad enough to take the action I suggest. If all of these different people are so worried about the conditions here in the United States of America, and you are from a foreign country, and you're telling us what we're going to do for you, I'm going to ask the one simple question. How come you ain't got the guts to do it in your own country for your own freedom, for your own fellow man that live there, your own families that you left behind? And I know that's an acidic question, and I've been wanting to ask that for a while. I expect answers. I don't want to hear about, ooh, bad boy this and bad boy that, and we got drug cartels, and we going to come get you. I don't care about all that happy stuff. I don't care that people say, they talk about Muslims as muzzies, and they're all out there for our ruination. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but I happen to know some Muslims, and that ain't the case. They don't want to be living in a war zone, and they come here for a little peace. They come here for a little protection. They come here for a little honor. I think that should be something that should be taken into consideration. I know a lot of Latinos who can outwork most of the most productive people I know. And, I mean, I have not ever seen anybody work that hard, that dedicated otherwise. So I'm going to say that the capability is there, but if somebody thinks it's funny to come here and wave the flag of your country and demand that we perform, how about you perform first? Why don't you take that flag, get everybody together, and march on somebody? And I'm talking about, you know, pick someplace. Chihuahua. I mean, there's, you know, Mexico City, Monterey. I mean, pick something that honestly could be a target. Think about how many drug cartels could come with you, people that don't really like that idea, that lifestyle, and the denigration it puts on Latinos in general. Ooh, the bad Mexican with dope dealer. Well, quit it. Not everybody's like that. I'm suggesting that they turn this revolution around and go after the people that are running their country. Maybe straighten your own stuff out. We will help you. Yeah, we sure will, because we don't want it up here. We would welcome somebody who wants to, you know, get a job, work, support their family. No problem. Next.
Did you want to comment on that, Minuteman?
Well, yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity here. Look, we don't got anything against anybody coming to America. That's great. We're glad you recognize the fact that America's special. but don't come here to change America. Don't come here to disrupt it. I feel like Drake does. I got nothing against nobody. You know, good-hearted people are good-hearted people. It doesn't matter how short, skinny, fat, white, black, red, yellow, pink polka dots. It don't matter, folks. None of that matters. Good-hearted people are good-hearted people. But if you come to America, get ready to be American and do the American things. Don't come here and try to put Sharia law or something like that in place in my country. That's not going to be a welcome thing. And I think that's exactly what Drake was hinting at. Look, folks, you should be trying to fight for your freedom in your own countries before you come to another country to change it to what you want it to be, because you'll be met with resistance. People of America are, well, they're Americans. Other people, Mexico, let's take Mexico. Beautiful country, got great, hard-working people in there, but, you know, their government is really messed up. It's just really messed up. And what Drake's saying is, hey, our Latino brothers, don't come up here to drain America down. Let's get you your country back so you have a country again where you can lay down the same basic principles of freedom in Mexico. I've known plenty of people that's been to Mexico. It's a flourishing land. It's a flourishing country that's really got, the government really has its hand down hard on its people. So, hey, Mexicans, let's go. Let's set it free. No sense coming to America to change America. Let's accept the borders as what they are, and, hey, let's free Mexico up. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Well said, Rick.
Well said, guys.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Drake, a couple more comments regarding the Kishi Foundation, and I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Kishi Foundation Energy Conference. The energy machine is supposedly fueled with plasma, and it says the conference for country officials is September 6th, and the release of the to the globe is September 21st, and will be made available for free. They will not be funded. They are not funded and will not be charging for the information. Okay, then there was a question. Drake, do you have any information on the global settlement accounts and the dinar? Is this legit, and are the dinar a part of the collateral accounts?
No, the dinar are not part of the collateral accounts. The dinar is a standalone currency. It was devalued primarily because of the war. Now that the assets of the country are being recognized and put to some use, you're due for a revaluation. The basic idea of a currency is based upon the credit capability of a country according to its assets. Those assets include a combination of natural resources, farming, manufacturing, and the production of the country.
Okay.
What we're looking at is a combination of things. Now, I'm going to stipulate one thing. I'm going to have to look at the design that Kishi's offering. And the reason I'm going to have to look at it is because I know about plasma. And I know that it is not something that will, that is a fuel-derived entity in terms of energy. It is a dimensional physics reaction to the release of energy. And that's a pretty broad statement, but it's pretty accurate as well. If you get into what's called plasmics, you have to change the manner in which you cause them to come into being. Or you have a thing where it eats the components or certain portions of the components involved in the system. I've been involved in a lot of this, and that's one of the stipulations that I have. I can cause plasma without it eating things up. So if the design is pretty close, then I can adjust it a couple of ways, and you won't have to, quote, refuel, period.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay. Drake, is the thing that was going to happen next week still going to happen? I don't know what they're referring to.
Well, there's supposed to be some things happening within the next a few weeks. I don't know. It was told to me that it was unsure. We're going to have to wait and see when this asteroid goes by. I'm not sure. I've been asking some people and I haven't found the answers yet. And I'm going to start demanding an answer because I know some people that do know, and they haven't told me for whatever reason. It doesn't matter to me. I will suggest that the autumnal that we're coming up against is the time that this was supposed to happen. In other words, it predates the 12/21/12 date, and there's a reason for that. First, you have to be able to align planets in our solar system without affecting the individual planets adversely. The reason you have to go from 3D to 4D in order to do so is so that those adverse effects pass by without any effect. That's part of the gist of this. So, go from there.
Okay. The first part of this question has been answered, but John Moore, a.k.a. Liberty Man, announced on his show that the Russian and Chinese troops are here working for the UN and waiting for orders to assist in introducing martial law. This is to occur after economic collapse on the third week of October. Question for Drake is, will the big changes be happening in the United States and the UK at the same time?
You're going to have a combination of domino effect. There are two houses that are involved in this. The old house is the Rothschild. They supposedly are in charge, but those powers have shifted to an extent through the changes that have come about over time to where you have more power here in terms of what can be done or could be done in relation to the European situation. I'm going to suggest that the euro right now has been artificially propped up. The manner you do that in is by buying it as a currency. You buy large chunks of euros and hide them away somewhere. When that money goes out of circulation, you get an increase in terms of the value of the commodity because it becomes a little less available. Now, when you do that economically, you can cause things like the Great Depression. If the euro is not watched very closely and handled correctly, it goes in the toilet immediately. Irrespective, you've got a combination of things to include Neil Keenan's liens and things of this nature that are coming to fruition, meaning that they're up against the wall.
Okay.
So the dates of September being the end of it is a probability. It's more than a possibility. It's a probability. The other part of it is that none of this is set in stone absolutely. The idea that the present administration can continue its operation past the end of its financial structure is not going to happen. This has been assured to me by a whole bunch of people. So I'm going to suggest that there are some things that people are aware of and some that are not, and it is a little bit of an iffy game at this point. We'll have to wait until things start happening before you'll know specifically where it's going next.
Okay. Drake, we're down to 49 minutes, and we've got a lot of questions, so we're going to try to rapidly run through them.
Okay.
And we do have several callers. Question for Drake, what about the GEWN towers being turned on?
You turn something like that on, I wouldn't stand next to it. Next question.
Okay. You have spoken often of the wonderful technologies we are about to enjoy, including but not limited to replicators for food, free energy generators, fuelless cars, and methods of transportation. Have you seen these things actually in operation? If so, where? And if not, how do you know that they exist?
I've seen them in operation. I ain't going to tell you where. That would be a violation of security protocols. Some of the stuff that everybody now knows about on the Internet has been around for quite a few years and in use for that same number of years, to include advanced technologies nobody's aware of. Next.
Okay. Clarification, Grammy had mentioned the state's freedom thing during the RNC. She said she had gotten a message from someone, and Maine was starting something with it, the state of Maine.
My understanding, Maine was done. If it's not, then those people, no problem. There are people that can direct those people to the right sources. If this is a secondary effort, it falls to a first-come, first-served basis in legalities of this nature. You can make a notification anytime you want as to whatever you want, and go from there.
Okay. Oh, that's another thing. This is a good opportunity for me to point this out. Recently, we have had a number of people posting Tim Turner, Rusa, videos and information. He's evidently going all out again, trying to get people to, get state paperwork together and do what has already been done. And I will warn our members, you will not specifically be removed, but your posts will. The Global Voice does not promote nor accept any Tim Turner rhetoric on our group page. So just be forewarned about that, okay?
And it will not go on my website either. Tim Turner is nothing other than a scam. He's got a lot of people put in jail over the stuff he's done.
On your site and on our page that clearly talks about Rusa exposed. It's also in the About tab at the top of the Global Voice page.
Right, and that's clearly on both Global Voice 2012.us and AmericanNationalMilitia.com. We thank Terry Hinkle for her years of documenting all of the, and exposing Tim Turner for exactly what he is. We just will not entertain any of his information on our page. Okay, all right, Drake, does not spooky entanglement disprove the reality of time and space, or at least give proof of its time and space illusion? Is it perspective rather than vision?
No, not exactly. The difference is this: you see a thing called the movie The Matrix. Look at it closely. You'll find that the same things have been played with us, same game. Only the difference is that you are continually in the Matrix, meaning that you need to learn how to use it to your benefit and not the other side. And that's the basic difference between spooky and reality. The reality is where you're at. The reality of it is that you can, as the hero in the movie, control it, also control this one. There are certain ways to do that, which I've described before. Next.
Okay. If it is true that the Russians and Chinese have already landed on American soil, and if it is true that they intend to help us weed out the dark cabal, then wouldn't Congress already know about these plans and be preparing some type of counterattack?
Well, they can counter all they want. Now, 25% of the military ain't very much. They might be able to secure a latrine somewhere, maybe. You have to remember that most of the people, when offered the option to be free in comparison to what we got now, would take it in a heartbeat. The other part is that you then have a combination of the support necessary, and this has been coming up, and it's been coming up hard and heavy. The military has had enough of the present administration's activities. The structure of the government has to be changed so that the people that are doing a good job in whatever capacity that is are recognized for it. The bad guys that are doing a bad job, in terms of, you mentioned representatives, there ain't very many of those who are good guys. I hate to say this, and I really don't like it, but right now that's the way it is. We're coming up to change that. So, fasten your seatbelt, and here we go. Next.
Okay. Well, the next comment was, since Congress is not reacting in any meaningful way to reports of this supposed infiltration, is it possible that the troops are here to implement martial law?
No.
Okay.
I have that on good authority, and that's all I can say. Next.
Okay. Let's see. I notice how you parallel what Tolek and Mark Kimmel, amongst others, are saying in regards to this ascension we are going through, and wonder, have you any contact with these two individuals, or is the information that you have on what is happening to our planet and ourselves from independent sources from these two?
I'm in touch with some people. Tolek's one of them, yes. I also am involved with ET on a little different basis than most people are. It's more of a reality basis than other people are willing to even admit exists. So, you know, it's up to the individual whether or not you want to be able to be an active part of what's coming, or to be led around like a little kid and taught a whole bunch of stuff real quick. That's your basic choice. As I said, you're going to be schooled in some things. This is not just a bump in the road and you know, don't fall off the seat kind of thing. Although for some people it is going to be a bump in the road. So, you know, the best I can see is to be prepared for it. Know when the bump in the road's coming, basically, or that it is, and start getting ready for it. Next.
Okay. Do you have a comment on either your take on Tolek or Kimmel and the Andromeda Council planned visit by Andromedan representatives to Earth?
Right now I have been sort of interimly put into the position of being somewhat of an ambassador between the extraterrestrial angel beings and mankind. So this is a voice that you heard before, and I'm not the kind of person that plays games with things. I'll let you know exactly what's going on, and I'll let you know exactly who you're dealing with, and then there'll be a Q&A session, and this ought to be righteous, for the individual. And the individual will give a certain amount of information, and that will not be all of it. And everybody needs to understand that right now we've got some, I'd say 2,000 races involved in making sure that our planet can be free. Now, I want you to understand that. In other words, these things you can't see because they are in a spiritual realm. They're fighting a battle continually almost to make sure that we can attain our freedom. I think that's a pretty good deal. The other part of it is that they do not interfere with what we do. Our decisions are our decisions alone. We decide. The better our situation gets, the more acceptable we become to what's called the Galactic Federation of Planets. This is the real deal. It's different. And people are going to have to get used to the idea that, you know, well, I can't believe in that because I can't see it. Well, I intend to introduce one on mainstream media. That's the plan right now. Nobody's going to know until just before it happens that it's going to happen. But I guarantee you that it is going to happen. It's very real. And I've gotten to know some of these entities, and I have never had any more pleasure in terms of sense of humor, in terms of being someone or a person you could trust kind of thing with anybody else than I have with them. So you can take my word for it. You can just, I don't want to hear it. Whatever you feel like you want to do, your choice. Freedom of will. Next.
Okay. When the event happens and the banks are closed, Drake, and the reevaluation of the dinar occurs, how are we going to be able to cash in?
Well, that's a good question. I will suggest that by the time the RV happens, you're going to have an RV or reissuance of new currency here at the same time. The situation is such that those are probably going to be close related, if not the same time kind of event. When exactly that happens depends on how quickly we get other things accomplished. Next.
Okay, there are good numbers of organized militia in the western Montana area, including Idaho. If there are troops there, how could these troops be on our side for freedom?
It's very simple. They're under orders to be, and they have agreed to it. It's something you have to understand. There's a difference. You have directives, which go directly to the troops only, and you have what's called standing orders, which are public orders. The public orders are to comply with the training, go along with the program under limitations. Those limitations generally are not specified in the general order. The directive or direct order is one that goes through the chain of command to each individual involved. The direct order is that they will not engage civilians, period. They will assist our freedom troops, whomever they may be, in terms of setting this country free. And it doesn't get much simpler than that. Next.
Okay, when will the media change their tune and begin actually reporting the truth? Is this coming soon?
Yes, it is, and we're going to enforce that. So if they don't want to deal with the military on a basis that they might not like, I would suggest they start getting ready now, maybe even start reporting now. Next.
Okay, is it true that the Iraqi dinar is going to be revalued? There's a lot of confusion on that. They're saying that it is going to revalue, but at pennies, not at, dollars, there's a great variance on the dinar when it's revalued.
Well, the problem is that you've already had some people that are officials that have cashed theirs in. So there has to be an advantage. That means it's going to have to be some kind of an exchange rate that makes it profitable to cash it in. Okay. This includes our presidential family, etc. So, yeah, you got certain exchange rates. It can vary. What the end exchange rate is yet to be seen. But I can tell you right now, if you cash in right now, you're going to lose money. If you wait a little while, you'll make a lot more. Next. Okay.
Is it at all possible that Obama would be able to stop us from using the catchy technology?
Obama is not going to be around long enough to do that. If he interferes in any way, shape, or form in our new, I'm gonna put a phrase out. New world order is going to be ours. How about the people's order? How about the people's government? How about the United States of America? How about forget you if you get in the way? That's the basic attitude right now. So I doubt that the man's going to get in the way. If he does, he's probably going to be visiting someplace he don't want to go. Next.
Okay. And some of these, Drake, are really rehashed. I mean, these questions have been asked time and time again. But, okay, I hear Europe is supposed to crash by mid-September. If this is true, is this true? And if so, how long after that will the U.S. crash?
Well, it might be at the same time, according to the dates I've been getting. It could be 1st of October. You don't know. It depends on the actions taken in that area. Next.
Okay. When the banks do close, will it definitely include small and local banks and credit unions?
If the small banks and credit unions are largely independent of the Federal Reserve, they will not be closed. I don't know how strongly I can reiterate that or get that message across. You're going to have some banking activity. The structure of the governmental banking activity is what is going to be closed and changed. Next.
Okay. Let's see, some repeat questions. Let's see. All right. I realize that it appears that Obama is a bad guy, but no one knows what his handlers have threatened him with. Drake, can you preface your remarks about Obama by addressing his handlers instead of Obama? And
no,
this person thinks that they doubt that Obama is as dirty as we make him out to be.
Well, I tell you to look at the man's record, and that should speak for itself in terms of his being dirty. As far as his handlers go, they don't listen to me yet, but they will. Next.
Okay. Why can't the Kenyan be put in prison for life in solitary with Valerie Jarrett and Mucciarella all in the same cell. If he goes free in exile, he will wreak havoc on any other country.
That's not up to me to decide, but that sounds like an interesting situation. I'd like to see the video. Next.
Okay. Okay. If the foreign troops are against our government, but for we the people, how did they get such a cushy foothold without them, the U.S. government, reacting and doing something about it?
Well, the problem was that the U.S. government didn't know that they were inviting our friends in. They didn't realize, and still don't, and there's a lot of people out there that don't, that these people are our allies in this effort to free the planet. Next.
Okay. What is your view, Drake, on John Bonner, Speaker of the House, and the Koch brothers?
I'd say they're all funky monkeys. Next.
Funky monkeys, okay. All right. Since NDAA allows for the arrest of anyone supporting al-Qaeda terrorists, why hasn't the military arrested those supporting the radical extremists in Syria, such as the various Congress critters, CFR, the State Department, and others sending weapons, funding, and other aid to FSA?
Well, you're not going to see any action taken against themselves. In other words, Congress is not going to vote to eliminate the automatic raises. Neither is the Senate. You're not going to have somebody say, everybody goes to jail, it ain't clean, even me. I mean, you have to think about this in relative terms. They don't want to give it up, and until it's taken from them, they probably won't. And you're not going to see any kind of decent action from it until that happens. Next.
Okay. I would like to see you please post or provide a link to the documents that were sent to The Hague. And if they can be, when will they be shared?
Okay. First of all, you're not going to see the original documentation if we can help it. The second part of that is that we do have blank documents that have been posted. Now, the other part of this is that the documentation will come out or be presented publicly to an extent after we free the country. Next.
Okay. Okay. Homeland Security is obviously on the bad side. What is going to happen to them? Will they go down along with the IRS?
There's going to be a lot of people go to jail. There's going to be a lot of basic changes. The IRS is going to be closed. I want everybody to understand that. Department of Homeland Security is not going to be there anymore. It's going. It's one of the things we don't need. You do not need TSA officials playing proctologists at the airport. There's a whole bunch of things that are just stupid. And these things are up to be changed, period. And by changed, I mean either drastically changed to where they are a true security effort, or done away with entirely. If there's no way to change it sufficiently, then it's going to go. Next.
Okay. What is going on with all these Earth-size and Jupiter-size motherships coming out and going into the sun? Is there possibly an interstellar war currently going on a couple of light years outside of our solar system? Is that what all this mothership activity around the sun is about?
No. There have been some reports on that as to what that action really is, and it takes some time to explain it, and I don't think I'm going to go into it at this point. But, yeah, it's real, and it's not something to be worried about. Next.
Okay. I was told by a Canadian that Romney was born in Mexico. Could there be any truth to this, and has anyone seen the monkey's birth certificate? Or do you know maybe his father was born in Mexico? Just another brick in the wall. Is his father and mother, Romney's mother and father, even citizens?
Well, I'm going to say this real clearly. Now that they've decided finally, first they said there wasn't going to be elections. Then they turned that around and said, yeah, I think we will have elections, and they're going to see that Ron Paul has the capability or decision he can make to run if he wishes, and that's up to him. Romney is in an interesting situation. I have had a couple of people on TV, and these are major announcers. These are major players in the social scene, in finance, etc., who have stated things pretty clearly, that they would vote for an empty juice can before they would vote for Obama.
Okay.
And I would suggest Romney would be an improvement, no matter whether. I don't care. Ron Paul would be nice. If Romney is coming clean, like I understand he is, then you've got pretty much an interesting cross-reference between Ron Paul and Mitt Romney in terms of what he would like to do. So you got to, it's going to be an interesting question to see. Now, whether the man's really absolutely kosher, I decided to leave that alone, simply because I'd rather have a candidate that I think can win, be that Ron Paul or Romney, than one who can't. And everybody that is supposed to have been helped by Obama has not been. So everybody needs to really take these things into consideration. And I don't care what color the dude is. I don't care about his nationality, his origins, and all this other happy stuff. I don't like the idea that they can get away with playing games with birth certificates or whatever. But I will say this very simply: we need somebody in there that is for this country. If Romney, it turns out to be that person, great. Now here's the little trick to all this. If Romney turns out to be a problem, he will be summarily removed almost immediately when he becomes a problem. This is the New Deal I've been talking about. It's different than what has happened before. You get this sucker elected, and he becomes a problem. What do you do with him? You got to wait till the election? Okay, this is not be the case any longer. Things are changing, and when I say basic structural changes, I'm not kidding. Next.
Okay. So many are saying that gold will go to a very high value, but my understanding is that with the vast amounts of gold in the world and the fact that it will be used to back our various global currencies, how could it possibly climb to an astronomical value? It seems that the value would go back to a value similar to the value when we were taken off of the gold standard. What is your take, Drake?
Well, You need to understand something, okay? First of all, we're not going to take gold out of the collateral accounts and flood the market with it. So that means that you got a situation right now where the gold value shouldn't fluctuate all that much in terms of going down at all. I would rather suggest that as we go on to gold standard and countries start using gold as the value commodity to offer a settlement of international exchange and this sort of thing, that idea will actually cause the value to go up. Now, silver, because of its limit, is a little more valuable actually than gold. And I would suggest that if you get into silver now, you can look at a really nice increase coming. Now, there's two things about both metals. One is that gold by itself does not have the physical strength to keep itself together as well as silver. You mix gold with some other things, and it can and offer the conductivity necessary in electrical circuits, as an example, as well as silver has already been proven to be strength worthy of being used. It also has a great conductivity. These are a couple of things. The other thing is that they are both in a semi-demand situation, in that everybody has jewelry and it's gold or silver. So, so long as we don't flood the markets, we'll be fine. Next.
Okay, let's see. Wasn't General Dempsey attacked by Israeli special forces because he didn't want to give the green light to attack Iran? You get a problem there, and that problem is that they were counting on the U.S. to support Israel in a fight against Iran. Problem is they've been basically told that we're tired of fighting wars for Israel. Do it yourself. Now the situation comes about where Netanyahu, and I'll name names, is in a funny position. He's surrounded, for one thing, and number two, he needs to take out the basis of operation
for the people that are after him, and that means Iran. We probably will not assist, and we'll probably make sure that things are safe for our allies in the area in order to continue having a power relationship. But the idea that we're going to continually fight wars for somebody else is quitting. It's stopping. It is not going to be a thing that's going to happen anymore. Next.
Okay. Can you tell us the difference between density and dimension?
Yeah, the density is the amount of material you get into a specified space. A gold coin of the same size as an aluminum coin weighs 3, 4, 5 times what the aluminum coin weighs. That's density. Their material, known as gold, is a lot more denser than the aluminum. Dimension is the size of a room. It can be a square dimension like a wall, or it can be a volume dimension, such as how many cubic feet are in a room. Depends on what kind of fan you need to move the air. That sort of thing. Next.
Okay. Is telekinesis real, and can you give examples of how it could be used?
Well, telekinesis is simply the idea of mind over matter. And one of the uses for that would be what you find right now in terms of adjusting your reality. That's a real thing, adjusted by mental capability. So you're in a situation of using something that doesn't seem to exist to affect something that does. That's basically the idea or gist of mind over matter. Next.
Will the auto industry and related businesses be retooled or thrown away in light of the coming changes? Did you catch that, Drake?
Yeah, they're going to have to be retooled.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Pretty, I mean, that's pretty obvious.
What did Grammy J mean when she said something about prepaying electric bills and other bills? Why would we want to do that?
Well, because it's not going to be right away that we get the free energy. You're going to have to manufacture those things. So it's going to take a little time for everybody to get to where they're not dependent upon the network of power, let alone communication. So, you know, it's going to take a little time. It's not a instant kaboom and there it is. You're going to have to go out and, you know, make sure these things are available, et cetera, and you got to have somebody putting it together. You're talking about a lot of jobs. Next.
Okay.
And
what
I've been
about
listening to my beautiful brother Drake for so long that Grammy could have actually answered that question.
Okay. Thank you, Grammy, too. Okay, for Drake, what about the controllers we don't hear about, like the 13 top Illuminati families and the royal families? How long until they go?
That's already in process. People haven't seen it because they don't know where to look, and it's not being put into any kind of news media at all. But you'll find that some of the top people, and I can give you an example of this, quite a while ago they had a Bilderberg meeting, and everybody said, oh, they're meeting anyway, why don't we round them up now? I said, well, that sounds like a good idea to me. If it's time to do so, then we will. It didn't apparently happen. However, one of the neat things about that meeting was that a whole lot of people were missing. Nobody seemed to know where they were at or where they went. They just wasn't there. So as this continues, then you'll slowly start seeing people say, I wonder what happened to so-and-so. And this will eventually bleed into the news. Now, if that news has not been changed over, and they're intending to do this, to a true news source, and it can be any one of the stations you want to pick, then, you know, at that point they will be summarily told to tell the truth. Here's your script, here's the links, here's what you need to know, go for it. Now, it's a little short notice, but the professionals that do handle things, Cavuto is an example, Napolitano's been on TV, there's a lot of people that are professional enough to handle that situation. They're going to be given the first shot at it, and believe me, they will not be able to say no any longer. Next.
Okay. Will the hidden federal retail and real estate taxes be finally exposed to the people?
Yeah. They're not going to only be exposed, they're going to be done away with. Next.
Okay. The regime change tactic of using terrorists who are currently on a Christian murder spree in Syria is certain to have blowback on Americans' security later. Here's a perfect opportunity to take down some of the cabal's puppets, because the NDAA is to be used for sponsors of terrorism, yet nothing's being done to stop them that we are aware of. Why hasn't any action been taken to stop these types of activities?
That's because the people that are in charge presently have an interest in making sure that it doesn't. It could be that they're financing. It could be that they're buying weapons. It could be any number of things. One of those is that the more chaos you got, the more reason you need to have armed troops. The more chaos you got, the worse it gets in the cities, the more police you need. The more control then it can be exerted or is exerted, and you end up with pretty much a totally socialist or communist society. This is what we're trying to avoid. Now, as we take people out that are in control, then these things will start stopping. Next.
Okay, this is a complex question, so this is going to take a few answers. Okay, but anyway, the following multi-part question is intended to find out where we really stand with respect to the U.S. military, given there are at least two sides, those who will stand with and defend the American people, and those who will follow orders to enforce any or all of the following: strict martial law, indefinite rendition, detention and torture, and a roundup of dissidents for rehabilitation or execution without trial. A, while it would be encouraging to be able to count on oath-keeping patriots in the military to put an end to illegal orders to move against the American people, isn't it safe to assume that the least part of the reason that they don't want to do that is because they are aware of how many trees, rocks, and blades of grass have a rifle behind them at this point?
Not exactly. It's more like 74% of the military being on our side, stated openly, and the minority being in a position where they're at the great disadvantage of wanting to continue to play the game we have now. The difference is this. We have joined forces, and this has happened between myself and other individuals, whom I will not name. You have a combination of civilian firepower, that includes the militias, and the military. I don't think that between the two, anything that I know of could really stand up to that very well. Now, the other part of this is that you have to understand that the bad guys in the military are being weeded out and or notified. We know who you are, and don't do anything stupid or we will pounce on your butt. And that's basically what they've been told. So, you know, look at it from that perspective and it changes things. Next.
Okay, next part of the question is, in spite of the defeat of the UN Arms Control Treaty aimed at individual rights and ownership of guns, can we ask this really tough question, which is, if they succeed in their current action in crafting some kind of international law that makes gun ownership illegal or impossible for individuals and provides for confiscation of guns we already possess without any interaction from Congress required, wouldn't that also pave the way for those in the military to agree to enforce martial law and a roundup of all those who oppose the government?
Absolutely not. They are not in agreement with martial law. If martial law is declared, some 90%, that's a lot more than fully agree with us now, some 90% said they're going to take their gun and equipment and go home. I want everybody to think about that real close. Okay, they're not going to put up with that horse hockey. They have been, their reputation has been trashed thoroughly. The reputation of the military with the people right now is kind of borderline between the reputation of militias, and everybody knows they're bad guys. Yeah, right, okay, they all got guns. There got to be something wrong with them. Well, so is the military, so is the police, so is the FBI, so is the CIA. All of these people have an opportunity here to do two things. Number one, the right thing, and that is to abide by the Constitution. So forget all horse hockey goes against the Constitution, because they're not going to let it happen. Number two, they get to not only show that they're good guys, which is great press, but prove it. They get to actually regain their reputations as being not only the good guys, but the ones that actually fundamentally help us succeed in this effort. It don't get no better than that. Next.
Okay, well, you answered part C, which was, do you know if something like our ownership of guns would even be a worry to them, or would they admit it if it was?
They're happy to have us having guns, actually. Next.
Okay, lastly, the role of the militia has been discussed at length with respect to being a part of, quote, the plan, unquote. I would like to hear you say once again for the listening audience, the formation of the militia in every state is going to be the game changer. By the way, Rick's discourse during his online radio interview here recently was, in a word, outstanding. Thank you, Rick, for saying those things. One more set of principles that we agree on 100%.
Well, I am very honored to do such a thing, and they're very welcome. That message will continue to spread. We want safe, productive militias out there, folks. We don't want, well, warlords running around. We want professional men, women that want to serve their country, aren't in the military, want to keep their jobs and their families intact and stuff like that. And, hey, they want to be part of it, too. So step forward. Just remember them principles: professionalism, safety, and the security.
Yep.
I'll let that stand by itself.
Any truth to the fact, Drake, that Hillary Clinton is trying to once again pass the UN Arms Treaty because it's Labor Day weekend?
Absolutely. She's hot and heavy on it, and I think she needs to go somewhere. My understanding is that there have been plans made for the lady, and I'm trying to be nice. That's why I'm stuttering just a little bit. It's hard not to use four-letter words when I talk about certain people. She's one of them. She has refused to go to the DNC. Does that tell you anything? Number two,
yep.
Somebody that goes against the Constitution is a insurrectionist, and I'd like to know why somebody ain't preferred charges against the dink. It goes on and on.
Okay. Drake said that the foreign troops are under strict order not to engage the general public. Drake said that the foreign troops are here to help quell rioting. Who would be rioting? Parts of the general public?
I would imagine so. If you think about having everything turned off suddenly, there's a lot of people out there that don't listen to us. There's a lot of people that do not understand the difference between what we have now and what can be and is coming. Now, the other problem with this is when your credit cards don't work, you can't get no money out of the bank, and you didn't listen to us and get some cash in fist or some junk silver or something like that, you're going to be up the creek, and the food stamp card don't work, and oh my goodness, well, I hate to tell everybody to, calm down, but I'm going to tell them. First of all, rioting is not going to be acceptable, period. And they're not going to be nice about quelling a riot. They're going to come in swinging, and that's exactly what you're facing. Number two, there's no need for it. There have been emergency rations allocated so that you will not starve. The water will not be turned off. Your lights and all that is going to work. The transition period has to go through. The main thing they are concerned with is that they do not want the violence that normally comes with rioting. First of all, it doesn't do any good. Secondly, it destroys going concerns and businesses that might even be able to provide somebody a job. Number three, you're screwing yourself. It's usually your neighborhood that gets tore up, and there's no rhyme or reason to do that. You don't take a dump in your own bed. Why take one in your neighborhood? It's pretty simple. So look at things in the positive fact that, come out and ask somebody. Hey, man, can I ask you a question? Sure, what do you need? That should be the discourse between a cop, military, and a citizen. It shouldn't be some kind of, I see you and I'm going to take your head off when you come over in these bushes, or what, any of that stuff. That's horse hockey. That's stupid. If the individual people are made aware correctly, that they actually listen to some of what is being said here on this show and others, they will find out that these provisions have been made for them so that they don't have to worry about it. Now, you may have some problems with transportation. There may be some minor issues with deliveries to certain places and this sort of thing. Don't worry about it. It will be attended to. If the truck drivers decide that the union's in charge and they're going to screw everybody, then they'll be taken out. These are the kind of changes that are going to be made. And it ain't nothing against unions one way or the other. It's just simply that they're not going to put up with a horse hockey in the process of changing this over. Continue your deliveries. We want the bread man to drop off the donuts, make the police happy. I mean, think about it and go from there. Next.
Okay. Part 2 of the question was how can foreign troops quell rioting of the general public without engaging with the general public?
I didn't say that they wouldn't. Why would somebody want to give somebody that's armed a whole bunch of stuff and make them get upset enough to, dink them on the head with their rifle or something? That don't make sense. This is what I'm trying to say. That's not needed. Next.
Okay. What you have been saying seems to contradict what the Bible is saying, that we are sinners, can't enter heaven, and thus need a Redeemer. Jesus Christ is that Redeemer based on His perfect sacrifice on the cross. Salvation, heaven, is attained by His work on the cross and not our own merit. Do you believe the Bible is wrong on these fundamental points?
There's a whole lot of things that are going to be changed. One of the things that's going to come out, and this is not going to sit well with some people, is that a lot of the religious structure, belief systems, are going to be told and shown the truth for the first time in a long time. Yeah. The people who put together a lot of the belief systems have a combination of enough truth to cause actions. This is where you get into prayer, believing, things of this nature. But, and this is the big difference, things are not as they seem, nor are they as they have been told to individuals. One of the problems with religion is that everybody goes for the one that's got the comfort zone. I like 343rd Division of the Christian Church. I like the Two Percenters Club, or whatever it is that goes along with this particular, I feel comfortable here because the guy don't pick on me, or what I do.
Okay.
Everybody makes a decision simply because facing the truth, absolute truth about yourself ain't easy. Now, what is going to come out of these changes is the absolute truth. And it's going to be a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, but it is the absolute truth, and there's no deviation. So you're looking at, like I said, I talk about major structural changes and changes in the economy and our social structure, things of this nature. The other main thing is that you have to remember the people that were involved in a, quote, church type of situation did several things. They made sure that the wording of what they included in their belief system and the structure of it was such that they gained and retained financial and or political control of one form or another. This is what I find wrong with all of the belief systems. So that's my personal take. As I said, you're going to have authorities that will instruct people as to the difference between that type of idea and what the reality is. Next.
Okay. All right, Drake, we're down to 5 minutes, and Grammy's call just dropped. I don't know why. I hope she will be. Oh, okay, you are there. Okay, I don't know why it's saying Grammy's call dropped. But anyway, I want to make a quick announcement, and then we'll play a brief song. We'll go into overtime. I'm hoping that all of you will be able to do that. The quick announcement is I want everyone to be aware and hopefully join us on Tuesday, the 4th of September at 7 p.m. Central. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific for our very special guest, Richard Gilbert, attorney for Ron Paul. The subject is, where do we go next after the RNC? I want everyone to mark your calendars, and I hope everyone will join us for that very important program. Quick closing remarks. I think I know what yours would be, Drake. And we will continue in overtime.
Get her done.
Get her done, Rick.
Hey, just remember, freedom's the top thing. Don't let nothing else cloud that. Be afraid to bump elbows with somebody that don't see it your way. As long as you believe in freedom, well, that's what we need.
Okay, and Paul Biener, would you like to quickly give out the numbers for people to call if they are not on, where they can continue listening to this live?
Yeah,
Paul?
I can do that. I'm here. Yeah, we have a number of different ways you can continue to listen to the program. You can browse to radio.globalvoiceradio.net and listen to the live stream. You can dial in to the HD conference line. That is 559-726-1300, 559-726-1300. And the code you type to get in the room is 489454. That's 489454.
Okay.
That's it.
And with that, we're going to play a closing song, and we will continue in overtime. Thank you, and we'll see you on Tuesday night, and then our follow-up regular weekly show on Wednesday. This is Global Voice 2012.
And I would like to say, may the Great Spirit bless you and your loved ones and our planet and beyond.
Thank you, Grammy.
One quick comment. If you are connected to the live stream through Spreaker and it disappears, just refresh your browser and then click play again, because it'll hit the ground running. It'll disconnect, and then it'll reconnect 5 seconds later. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Well, darn it, Minuteman dropped.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he just dropped. I don't know why his phone won't, you know, when the recording turns off, for some reason, so does his cell phone.
It happens every time, Denise?
It seems to happen every time, and I don't know, you know, if that's his service or what happens there, but hopefully he can call back in. Minuteman, if you can hear us, if you cannot call back through the board, call the conference line through Paul Biener, which, oh my goodness gracious, I don't have the number in front of my face again. Anyway, we'll try and get you back on there, Rick. So let's continue on with these mega questions we have here. We have a bunch. Let's see. I'm hearing from everyone to ask you this, Drake. The cabal has plans to crash the economy in October. Then on your recent show on Wednesday, 8/29, you said the good guys will be crashing the U.S. economy by October. Why is it that both opposing forces are trying to crash reset the U.S. economy in October? And why is this happening in that particular month and not sooner?
That's a good question. It could happen sooner than that. Depends on the actions taken by certain individuals that are key to what's going on. Now, we're not going to crash. Our side is not going to crash or destroy the economy. We're taking out the central banking system. That's a big difference. We're going to do away with the IRS. You'll see the result in your paycheck. I want you to understand that. That's going to be nice. You get a raise. The other part of it is that with a combination of that and the release of the hidden technologies and whatnot, you're going to see a boom in a whole bunch of different areas. Part of the reason that we're taking down the cabal, the bad guys, is so that they can no longer have influence over our lives. The other part is that this is critical to releasement of the collateral accounts. Now, by that, I mean there will be credits issued in order to continue funding humanitarian projects. Now, this will include a combination of things, such as farming, such as industry, such as who don't have food to eat, who needs clothes, who needs a decent place to live. There are a bunch of these things. In some places, it boils down to we ain't got a well for water. I got to walk 5 miles one way just to get water. I mean, that's ridiculous. We have a planet of plenty. This plenty needs to be given to the people who need it. Okay, and in some form or another, that will need to be financed at present. In the future, we're not going to have to worry about finance. That's something that is off in the future a ways. But in the meantime, no, we're not crashing. We're closing the banks. They look at that as a crash. Well, it's not. It's a thud. You're looking at their intention to, we would like to mess things up to cause you all the problems we can so that we can control you more. It's a big difference.
Okay. All right. I still don't see Rick having been able to call back in. Let's see. I'm going to try and get with Paul, if Paul can mic me in here in a minute. After I ask this next question, I'll give him Rick's number to see if he can call him. Okay. Next question, Drake, is I have been awake and aware person for quite a while now, but the people closest to me are the hardest, it seems, to convince that these changes are actually going to happen and become reality. Basically, I get the impression that they are scared and they're afraid, in particular my boyfriend, that there will not be a place for him in this new world after the changes occur. Those that I still talk to are unfortunately rather mired in religious dogma and kind of stuck in the mindset. So how do I communicate to these people that everything is going to be okay? I have tried every explanation I can think of, talking about how we will have more money and how we won't have to worry about food and clothes after we learn how to use the new technology. You know things like that, and I still can't get through to them. Can you offer any kind of aid in this area to convince these people? It would be a great help.
In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. Some people absolutely hold on to what they are familiar with. The unknown is one of the greatest fears man's got, and you're going to start stepping into an unknown area. Uncharted existence, something you're not familiar with. A lot of people, and this includes people that are adamant about what they believe, and I'm not faulting them for believing absolutely. What I'm suggesting is that you might want to understand that this is going to change. Hopefully you learn a little about it so that it won't be that much of a shock. The differences are not as great as you might think, but there is a great amount of absolute truth that will come out that will change a great deal of things. You'll understand the history of where a lot of what we believe comes from and the difference between it and the way things really are. I don't want to see this reality jump up and cause people to lose it, but there's going to be some that won't be able to handle it. And we know that everybody's aware of this. There will be accommodation made for people who can't stand it. If you want to continue as you are, then there will be some place that you will have a place to go to continue the way you are. If you decide otherwise, and that the new deal might be what you're looking for, then you're going to have an opportunity to enjoy that as well. It's your decision, not mine, not somebody else's. And go from there. Next.
Okay, Drake, you alluded to the Titanic being one of the first ruthless acts of the Cabal, destroying their enemies by sinking an unsinkable ship. Can you please discuss in a little bit more detail and perhaps allude to how soon you believe the evil people will truly be brought to justice? Should there not be more disclosure already? And we have to be terribly close.
We are terribly close. Exact dates are not going to come from me until I'm allowed to share them. I know some exact dates, and I can't say a word, which is really frustrating to me. I would love to be able to inform everybody. That goes to the question that just came before this one. You're going to have a reality jump up and explode in your face and go, "Hi, here I am." And how you deal with that, you go, "Whoo, that's different." And my ice cream tastes different, or, boy, the preacher changed his song altogether at church. You might not need to go to church if you realize you're already there. I mean, there's a lot of things that, like I said, fundamental changes people are not aware of that's going to be brought to their awareness. So, the only thing you can do is kind of learn something about it, learn a little bit of what, people are really saying, and I'm talking about the people that do get the right thing out, and kind of get yourself a little more open-minded than closed-minded, I can tell you right now that Jesus Christ is real. He's walking around at certain levels, and so who's to say that he wasn't? I'll beg to disagree with that. So you're going to have to, what I find interesting is that Muhammad, which was also a particular individual, is also involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ and Muhammad know each other. Oops. Now that ought to mess up everything, in my opinion. So, but you need to know these things. These things, you're going to be able to see it, experience it, be there. This is what I'm trying to say. The difference is you're going to have a reality. It's not going to necessarily be an extraordinary explosion of this reality, but it's going to happen where you change over to the new one, and it slowly starts bleeding into your life. You start seeing things, you start experiencing things you've not experienced before. You need to be prepared in this way. Next.
Okay. How much additional time will be required to refile the lawsuit due to Scott's duplicity per your and Keenan's estimate?
Couple weeks. Everybody likes 2 weeks.
You did not say a couple of weeks again, did you, Drake?
Yeah, absolutely. Better believe.
Oh, jeez.
You better put your ears. I said it just for the fun of it, and I'm going to leave it at that.
He did not just say that again.
Yes, I did, Nick.
He likes
and you were waiting for a rise out of us, too.
I got one.
Yes, you did.
Okay, Drake, since you acknowledge that the Articles of Confederation are still in force and effect, what is it that you think the Constitution accomplishes?
It's supposed to be a further defining of the Articles of Confederation, a little better wording. What we're going to do is we're going to have to start making definitions and relationship notations so that these things can become a singular document to include the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. You need all this in one documentary form, in my opinion. When you set everybody free, it's going to be the idea of that freedom that's going to prevail. So it's going to be interesting to rewrite this. Next.
Okay, what makes us think we need a ruler as such? How about an administrator for specifically defined functions of government?
That sounds good to me. Next.
Okay. You said UN troops are fair game, but the Chinese and Russians and our guys are not. What if the UN troops are knocking on your door and the other off-limit troops are with them?
I don't think you're going to see that, first of all. I know different. Whether, you're willing to take my word for it or not, I would like to add detail, but I can't. I know the names, dates, places, and everything dealing with that, but I'm not going to say anything about it. Now, if somebody that wants to extract you from your house shows up at your door, obviously you're going to exercise your First Amendment right. What are you doing at my door? Do you got a warrant? If they are not willing to produce documents that show due process and you haven't done anything wrong, then I will suggest you exercise your Second Amendment rights. That's called 12 gauge. Next.
Okay. I have my savings in a 401k and a money market account. I don't want to be penalized for taking it out. Why should people like me, who have worked hard all of their lives, have to pay for the financial crimes of the elite cabal?
Because they like to be greedy and they want everything they can get, and if they can take a piece of candy from a baby, they will. Next.
Okay. What can be done about the Soros-owned vote-counting company? How could we possibly trust any vote count coming from a foreign country and owned by Soros?
Maybe they ought to do away with it, and we're going to have paper ballots, and that'll take care of the problem, and George Soros needs to visit a place that's got bars on the windows. Next.
Okay. Will the New York Stock Exchange and the commodities exchanges still be in business, or will they be trashed?
Well, you're going to have a combination of trashings. Whether they survive or not depends on how they operate. If you operate intrinsically on value that isn't there and doesn't exist, then that could cause a bubble deflation of the value of the individual market. Now, whether that is going to be a problem in and of itself is questionable. Commodities are going to have a base value in terms of the demand for those products, whatever they may be. Everything from clothes, underwear to grape nuts. So, it's going to be a little bit of play it by ear in some respects. Next.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Are the Alpha Draconians and Orion Empire still a major threat to peace in the Milky Way?
No. Next.
Okay. Which of the ETs does Drake talk to regularly, and how do you know that they are benevolent?
Because we've had several operations together, and I have, under that, worked with these people intimately. And when I get to know somebody, I get to know them. I get to know their heart. I have seen them sacrifice themselves for the opportunity to make sure the bad guys can't win. Period. It don't matter to me if a troop is my neighbor, whether that's next door or in the sky. If that person's willing to sacrifice themselves to make sure that there is a thing called freedom, I will back that person, period.
Well
Next.
said, Drake.
Thank you.
Okay, and do you care to elaborate on which factions of ETs that you would speak to?
No.
The only ones I talk to are the good guys. There's about I don't know. Last estimate was some 20,000 different races of individuals. Now, everybody thinks that we're by ourselves. I hate to bust your bubble on that one, but we ain't by ourselves. If you look at the galaxy, you'll find enough planets where life could come on just like it did on this one. Now, the other part of that is that the bad guys, in terms of the ETs, have been pretty much decimated in higher areas like outer space and things of this nature. You have, however, a problem on the planet where you have a mingling of DNA, 15 to 20%, and you're following the bad guys. There are a bunch of those running around loose that are going to have to be caught. So we're going to have a little bit of an ET, I don't know what you call it, a half-breed hunt, so to speak. Some of them will give up freely and admit their problem, and they will be treated. We won't treat them probably. Now, some of the people that are bad, we get to hang them or whatever we feel like we want to do. This is our decision. And we go from there. Next.
Okay. My research suggests that the Twin Towers were destroyed by an amplified scalar pulse delivered from directly underneath the towers. Could Drake comment on this?
Yeah, that was only a small part of weakening the foundation. It was not designed to make the destruction. The destruction was carried out by drone planes that you've seen on the video. There are some extraordinary craft that the military, certain people in the military have had access to that were also used to go along with this. All of that was a controlled demolition. And I've already stated the reasons that they did it. So, next.
Right. Okay, will student loans be expunged or canceled after the change?
I would say so. Next.
Okay. Are we going to have to wait now until election time for any kind of mass arrests?
I don't know. It depends on how these people act. Right now we've got a mutiny going on between the military and the administration. If the administration gets real funky about it, some of these troops that have been out in the woods are going to come in and settle it. That's the word I have. Next.
Okay, I don't know when this was taking place, but they wanted to know if you knew that Mr. Keshi was speaking live in an interview and talking about the free energy technology.
Yes, I did. I was busy and was not able to listen to that.
Okay. All right. If the bank shut down, could it be told to businesses that produce, ship, and sell food and required necessities to give them credit for about 30 days max from the directions from the U.S. military and based solely on their recent payments or credit have been, so there will be no shutdown at the stores?
That's the intent. They want to make this a smooth transition. In other words, you would have a voucher and you would exercise that at a fuel depot. And the other part of that is that these things would be backed by the credit of the United States. which is a little bit different than what we've had before, but it can operate the same way. Hopefully that we won't have any resistance to the change in terms of individuals disagreeing and deciding they don't want to deliver or whatever. Next.
Okay, yeah, and then this guy evidently is a truck driver because he was hoping if that were the case, then his position as a truck driver wouldn't stall.
Exactly. Anybody that's a part of the system, and there are integral parts. You got food, fuel in terms of deliveries of that nature. You've got materials for building or repair. You've got a combination of people out in the woods that are doing this stuff. In other words, you got a grocer, you got somebody who works at the gas station. All of these things are interrelated. If truckers refuse to deliver, then there will be people sent in who can drive a truck, and their job will be taken over by somebody who is willing to deliver. Just that simple. We don't like the idea of doing that, but if need be, that will be done. Next.
Okay. I don't mean to giggle. Some of the questions just tickle me, but okay. After the change, can I expect to save my teeth through new technology or Ascension Healing? And if so, will it then be okay to hold off on having any dental work done until the end of 2012?
No.
That depends on how much it hurts.
Well,
I can relate to that because I have no teeth, so and I've been wanting to go get my.
People have problems, both with arms and legs and teeth and things like this. You're going to find that there are regenerative devices and allow them to get back what they lost. And I'm going to leave it at that.
So I might have real teeth instead of fake ones?
Yup.
Hey, that would be cool if I could grow some new ones. Okay. Okay. Is there any genetic difference between the DNA of the elite Illuminati families, like the Bushes, Windsors, and Rothschilds, and the non-elites? If so, how did this happen?
Well, first of all, it's called inbred. And I know that probably is going to torch some cookies out there, but that's the fact of it. Then you have a combination of the bad ETs that came here a little over 300,000 years ago and started this mess. They didn't get everything really going good until the last 200-300 years. In the process, they intermingled their DNA with the elite, Illuminati, etc. Okay? And so if you compared human to them, you're going to see a stark difference if you can hold it down long enough to get a sample. Now, you got to remember, these things are aware, and I'm saying things, and I'll tell you why. We're on the menu. Our military has shot down several of their craft, and they wasn't reported. But I want you to think about something that would chop off your arm and treat it like the ham that you're used to, or that turkey leg, okay, kind of thing. I'm saying, when I say on the menu, I mean literally on the menu. This is what you're dealing with. These are not nice, no matter how you slice it. The basic remedy that they found so far is to kill it. Now, and, that's the only remedy they found works so far. So, we're going to have some fun and games, in my opinion, with these things. But we'll see whether or not things can be handled in a little different manner. I mean, it's messy when you blow somebody apart with a 12-gauge.
Okay. God, I can't believe these questions. We got so many. What about Leo Wanta, the man with $25.7 trillion? This man is a hero if he's willing to pay off the U.S. debt, but he has been ripped off, put in jail, and horribly abused. Everyone says this story is true. Is it, and what can we do to help him?
That's one of the biggest falsies out there. That was an attempt by the United States bad guy government to rip off the collateral accounts. And that's something everybody needs to stick in there and really listen to and really think about. If need be, this can be proved. They have already proven that they do not have the validity to access what they're saying they do. Number two on the scale, on the Richter scale, is that the collusive elements are some of those that have been around for a long time and have been attempting to steal or get a hold of any kind of wealth they can, because there is never enough. So, this is why they steal from you when you cash in a 401k. This is why you get stolen from when you have bank fees. Things of this nature, are pretty nasty. Now, you have to understand that what happened was that the certificates that Wanta came over with were stolen by Bush. There goes another crook. There goes another bash at Mr. Bush and family. Now, I hate to do that, but that's the reality of it. So, what you got is a semi-attempt to rip off. The man was supposed to get a certain amount because of his actions. Nothing has happened because they do not have the authority to further the action. Just that simple.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. All right. A machine makes water from the moisture in the air. Will these types of machines be given to countries that will most need them?
To an extent, yes. That's a limited technology. It's not necessarily something that is easy to use, because it takes things out of the atmosphere that normally are there, such as moisture. The better take on it would be to start supplying water correctly. And here's the biggie: the biggest user of water, and this comes right out of lakes, streams, etc., all around the world, is the oil industry. When they pump their liquid out of the ground, they put another liquid in its place. It's called water. A lot of it is drinkable water. So you wonder why you're thirsty, now you know. Next.
Okay. All right. Do you know about Max Baucus, B-A-U-C-U-S, and is he on the arrest list? If so, for what?
I've heard the name, but I'm not familiar with it or him and what he's doing. If he's dirty, which it sounds to me like somebody is saying he is, then he would be on the list to be taken down. Next.
Okay. Is it true Hillary is backing out of the Democratic National Convention?
She already did.
Okay.
She's busy trying to get the gun and take her guns away from us, which ain't happening either. Next.
Okay. Lindsey Williams had an interview on August 24th warning that the financial system was soon to collapse. He supposedly got this information from an elite insider who he talks to periodically. The spin was that it was put on it by the elite is that this is in their control. Is that true?
Not totally, no. But to an extent, yes. Depends on whether or not if they decide to take all the currency out of the market, you get a 1929 crash. In terms of closing the government down, I don't think the government would close its own doors. I think it might close some doors and put the situation into a different area. So go from there.
Sorry, I had somebody at the front door. Excuse me, everyone. Are you there?
Yep.
Can I be heard? Okay.
Yep.
I'm sure my dogs can. Okay. That's okay. It was just I have a tree that's precariously getting ready to fall, and somebody's offering to, from the storm, somebody was offering to trim it for me. Okay. All right. Sheriff Mack, Sheriff Arpaio, various special ops, including SOFA, SOFA, and now yourself seem to be giving credence to Mitt Romney. Yet we all know that Romney and Obama are two sides of the exact same coin. Massachusetts is my home state, and I'm very well aware of just who Mitt Romney is and what he stands for. He is simply another puppet on a string and will do whatever his handlers tell him to do. It is hard to believe that Romney has somehow joined the freedom movement. There are divisions growing within the Patriot movement concerning this newfound support of Romney. Ron Paul operates outside of his oligarchical system. What exactly has Romney done to prove any worth, and how exactly has he come clean in any way?
Several ways. Number one, he's provided documentation on illegal banking and financial actions taken and ordered for him to do by superiors. when he was in the business. The other part is that the gains that he has made that were extraordinary, my understanding is he's returning that. So as the man comes clean, he becomes more of a viable candidate. I do not say that he is equal to Ron Paul. I don't say that Ron Paul is equal to Mitt Romney. I will say that there are a bit of a difference between the two, and everybody's going to have to kind of decide which they would prefer. Now, the third part of this is everybody needs to make sure of one thing. We need to get Obama out of there. And whatever means, if I would vote for Mitt Romney if I knew that it would be a sure deal. The same thing's true of Ron Paul. I want to be sure that we win. Now, the thing that Obama is relying on is the Latino vote. The only thing he's ever done for them is cause them problems. The same way he has everybody else who has a financial...
Whoa. Somebody's phone rang.
Yeah. He has caused more problems for poor people than any president that I know of in varying ways. He's cutting budgets in terms of the support by the federal government to the things that actually help people. So I don't look at him as being, Romney has actually come up with a guy who's got a plan. I don't agree with all of it. I think there's a whole bunch of changes need to be made. Now, just because Romney is Mormon, just because he's a little different, I'm not going to denigrate the guy one way or the other. I think Ron Paul probably would be the best of the three candidates, in my opinion. If he can win and pull enough of the new vote from Obama, then he may actually defeat both Romney and Obama. I would be for that. So we have to wait and see. If Mr. Paul decides to run on the independent ticket, then you have a viable candidate or candidacy. He cannot be written in a lot of cases simply because of the ring around the rosy in terms of they are in control of your voting rights. And you got to remember that. Both federal law and state law stipulate you can't write somebody in. Well, that's not what it says. It says that you can vote for anybody. Name yourself if you want to for a write-in candidate. So those things got to go. But as far as the three go, Obama's out. We got to make sure he's out. Go
Okay. Is it true the gold will be used in the ascension process as gold Oramus, O-R-U-M-U-S, or is the process completely naturally based upon the energy waves of the universe?
It's a combination. The auric gold will be used to mitigate interference from the sunlight that charges things up and causes electromagnetic reactions in the Earth's gravitational fields and things of that nature. Other than that, it is a purely organic deal. Next.
Okay, you mentioned that there are people that teach envisionment on CDs. Where can we find those and purchase them?
It's called The Secret, and do an online search, and you'll get 2 or 3 places that you can get those. Next.
Okay. All right, if the federal election process is to proceed, as you now state, how can this happen legitimately unless the de facto corporation of United States of America is, in all caps, is dissolved? If this does not happen first, then isn't this just a continuation of the same illegitimate process that we are trying to get rid of now?
Not exactly. The difference being that the system that we are dealing with is going to slowly be disassembled. It may not be done by the time the elections happen, but it's looking like it will be. Now, as that is dissolved, you're going to start going from what we're familiar with into uncharted territory. You'll have a choice between different candidates, and Obama will not be considered if this is the case. He will not be a candidate, period. Now, the other part of this is that this will not, even if these changes do not come about, the fact of an election will not further what's going on presently, because that which is going on presently is being dismantled.
Okay.
Okay?
It is obvious that the shift or switchover will need to be done in stages and not all at once. Will the major announcements informing the mass of ignorant humanity of what is happening, why, and how to adjust or behave also be in stages? And if the announcements will be more in bulk or all at once, at what point in the transition can these announcements be expected?
Well, first of all, you're going to have a smooth transition. It's not a big speed bump that's going to hit at 50 mile an hour and bust a tire over. In terms of stages, you're going to be eased into it as you are being now. People have become more aware over the last month than they have before. You can notice this in the difference in the smell, taste, and texture of the air outside. You can notice this in the less anguish, the less tension that you feel in terms of your life right now. These things have been lightening up. The reason they have is because those things causing it have been being removed. So as these are removed and the calm, cool, collected person comes out, a transition from one form of something to another may not be much of a transition. You know, the desk and everything, chair and all that just looks the same, you know. So you're looking at something that is not something where God's going to thump you over the head. It's more like you might grease the rails and make it hard for the train to get up the hill because it's funny. You have to understand, God's got a sense of humor, or he wouldn't have made artichokes and giraffes. He's got a, you know, if you really want to see something funny, remember to look in the mirror first thing in the morning. That's funny. I don't care who you might think you are, but it's funny to somebody. Now, what you have to understand is that is the difference. You have a loving, caring entity that is going to try to help us get to where we're going. Next.
Okay. How will Canada be affected in regards to Canadian stock market, the TSX, currency devaluation, retirement savings plans held personally in stock market, food distribution, fuel distribution, etc., military action in Canada?
That's going to be interesting. Depends on how far the Canadian free movement goes. Lady Dragon has varying things that she tries to help support on her website, which I recommend if you want to know what's going on. And there are several other sites that are carrying the battle to the government. And you've got a combination of a central banking system up there that is going down with the one that we take down. So that is going to start making some changes there. And it's up to the people of each individual country, and this is true of any foreign country, to understand how to implement freedom within their country. It's not something I can do for someone. I can help them with it a little. But you, as an individual, are the white knight coming over the hill, the one you see in the mirror. That's who the white knight is. So riding to the rescue of Canada would be something that I would definitely recommend. As many people as you can get involved, do so. Go from there. Next.
Okay. With new energy sources, will oil be relegated to chemical, or relegated to chemical for manufacturing?
Probably. We're going to end up not using that particular type of thing for fuel any longer. That's one of the main changes that's coming. So, figure it from there.
Okay. Are all of the Bushes on the arrest list?
I certainly hope so. I'd hate to think they might have missed somebody. Next.
Okay. Next, we are going to take a few calls. We have some people who have been waiting 3 hours, in excess of 3 hours, to answer, to get their questions. Okay. Jack from Ohio. Jack, you're live?
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Thank you for your patience, Jack.
The question is, if this goes down, will the USA be still called the USA? And if so, would that affect the election? And I understand there will not be no elections.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay. Yeah, it'll still be known as the United States of America. There was a possibility of a name change. They decided against it because everybody identifies with that. The election is supposed to be stopped by Obama. He's supposed to try to implement a coup and martial law and all this other happy stuff. Now, the problem is that he has been told that if he does so, they're going to take him out of office, kicking, screaming, in cuffs, period, immediately, before the man doesn't have anything to say about it. So the second part of it is that the people who are doing this have decided that an election is not altogether a bad idea. Anybody who thinks Obama is a better person than the other two candidates, go ahead and vote that way. Personally, I like the description of I would rather vote for an empty juice can than Obama. Now, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much, Jack. And callers, once your question has been answered, please press the number 1 to remove yourself from my queue, and that will help us get through this a lot quicker. Patty from California. Patty, you're live.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Drake.
Hello.
Hi, Patty.
Why did Rand Paul support Mitt Romney instead of Ron Paul? And if we have recently had our driver's license and or passports that we had to renew to provide our thumbprint Social Security number, and they put all kinds of other junk on these, can we request that they reissue those two documents without the infringement of our sovereignty and having to wait 5 to 10 years to renew them?
To me, that's going to be part of the fundamental change in terms of documentation. As far as what the deal is between the Pauls, my suggestion is you ask them and see what they say.
Thank you so much, Patty. I appreciate your questions. Let's see. Who do we have next? We have Mimo from Baltimore.
Keita, man. You're embarrassing me, man.
Mimo.
Yeah,
you're
hello.
live.
How you doing?
Good. You're live. Your question?
Yeah, pardon me. My question was about a book called The Master Key System. If, Jake, you ever heard of that? How they took it off the market for about 60, 70 years or something. So all about, basically they took it off. I want to know who took it off and not why, but if you heard about the book called The Master Key System, it could also help the people that basically are trying to learn about, you know, the Matrix, all that stuff, how you can use your mind and all that. Have you heard of this book?
Yes, I have, and some of it's correct and some of it is not. There is a little variation in it. I would say that if somebody wants to learn about the Matrix, the best way to do that is to buy the movie The Matrix and watch it. Understand that in conjunction with that, there are some other books that I would recommend that actually explain the idea of seeing something and making it real. So that would be my recommendation.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut off. Mimo, I'm sorry, I cut off your mic. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. It was written in Old English, so it's difficult to understand. But they do have a revised version where it has both of them in one. And to me, I actually thought that was a good gistic of what it's a little bit more detailed. But I don't know, if you say that it's wrong, I take your word on that.
Parts of it are wrong is what he said. Thank you very much, Mimo. I appreciate your call. Now, I've got one more caller, and I haven't had any chance to screen the other callers, and we're going to run out of overtime here in about 10 minutes. So let's see. Mr. B, quickly, we've got you live. Are you with us still?
Yeah, I'm still here. Hey, Rick, what form of government are we going to have when this is switched over?
A totally free republic.
I mean, will it be an electoral government that we elect, or will it be an appointed government?
At first, it's going to be an appointed government for an interim period as needs, depending on whether or not we get to the elections. If we get to the elections, then we will have an election. After and during the time between now and then, and after the election, the House is going to be cleaned, whether anybody likes it or not. So that's going to be a part of, and any time that we have key personnel, if need be, they'll be appointed. If not, they'll be elected. And irrespective, this is only a temporary, it would be only a temporary appointment. It'll last for a specific period of time. If you can have an election between, in the middle of that, that's fine. It depends on the job the person's doing. If they're doing it well and people like what that person's doing, I would keep that person. If you want to change it, you can change it. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. B. Thank you, Mr. B. You have a great day. Thanks for your call.
I'll look for your call later.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now I have not had an opportunity to screen any of these other upcoming callers. Caller, you have a unidentified phone number, or you may be calling in from Skype. You're live.
This is Rob from Melbourne. How you doing?
Hi, Rob.
Hey, got something for you, Drake. When Kennedy created the Special Forces, he had a standing rule with sergeants that they were to create a plan. Now, this is funny that he left the officers out of it, but in case the government or something went wrong, he left that for the sergeants and told them to create a plan. And I was wondering if you had anything to say about that. And also, when we're going to be able to fire up our whiskey stills after this is done.
Yeah, you can fire up the whiskey stills. Yeah, I'm familiar with the non-com plan. That non-com plan was absorbed into the general plan that I have talked about. There's input from all ranks, not just officers, into the plan. This way you get feedback all the way down to the private that's cleaning latrines. You find out what's going on. They hear something and it's reported. And it goes from there. So the plan that is presently available is a composite, as I've said before. It's also updated regularly, etc. So I looked at that plan, and it seemed pretty concise when I saw it. And if it's kept abreast of what's going on, I definitely would love to see it implemented. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rob. Okay, we have a Bob from Newburgh and a motorcycle going by. Bob, you're with us?
Yes, yes.
And apologize for the motorcycle. Go ahead.
Hey, Drake, earlier, either when you were just on the show or somewhere else, there was mentioned that someone had called in and said that there were 2 New York senators arrested, and then you said there was something on a video about Obama. Now, can you clarify both of those things?
I do know about some arrests have been going on all over the country. Apparently, various individuals have decided that they were going to take some action, and things are happening that way. As far as the video, remembering that video, it's been a long time, and I don't remember it very clearly. I do not remember specifically about Obama, other than, as I understand it, Obama told them to do what they were doing. Now, that may make him as guilty as they are, and he should be arrested too. But like I say, I'll say this again, I don't remember that video that clearly. Okay?
But the New York senators, what happened to them? Who are they? You were going to clarify who they were. Hello?
Drake, are you still with us?
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. One of the things that I've run across is that we'll get a news release or a flash, and there'll be a video or whatever made about it, certain statements made and things of this nature, and then all of a sudden everything dries up. Everybody shuts up and they won't say nothing. I think if I remember correctly, I think I stated that about this particular incident. Now, as I said, you got people that are doing the citizen objection to someone holding an office, which is in effect a citizen's arrest in varying places around the country. You've got senators and congressmen both that have taken issue with Obama's existence. But nothing is said, and the reason it isn't is because these objections are basically trash canned. That the adjudication of somebody who is probably guilty never happens because the judge is owned and things of this nature. So you go along and all of a sudden, poof, it just disappears. There's nothing to be found on the internet. You can't get a hold of anybody, etc. And that could be the version of what happened here.
Thank you, Bob.
I understand.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate your call. If you'll press 1 after I disconnect you to lower your hand, I'd appreciate it. Okay, we have Mem calling in, and Mem, you're live.
Okay, good afternoon, Drake and Denise and Minuteman and Grammy and Paul. It's so nice to be able to join you on your call today and give you praise and thanks and appreciation for all that you're doing. I do have a question, Drake, with regard to... Thank you, Grammy, and thank you, Denise. We just so much appreciate what you're doing and getting to be able to receive the information that you bring to us on a weekly basis and keep us updated on where things are at currently. I have a question, Drake, with regard to the veteran situation. You know, the VA lawsuit that is going on. I know that there are several, but this particular one is the Gary Kendall. Are you hearing me okay? I'm getting a little bit of kind of a weird sound here.
I can hear you. I don't know if that's echo or what.
Okay, very good. Just so you can hear me. I'm wondering if you have been in touch with Gary Kendall, who has the overall lawsuit against the VA for all the travesties that have happened, you know, the delay, the deceit, the, you know, unto death stuff that you're aware of. I have spoken with him, and he's willing to have an interview with you if you would like. And my concern is now there's another new post on Nassara today talking about another executive order that's just been put through where Obama is planning to hire like 1,600 more counselors or whatever, you know, to try to get more people that are suicidal, PTSD. Excuse me, honey, you're going to have to go out for just a minute. To have them come in so that they can actually, you know, give them more of, to get the vets to come in actually so that more of the same kind of things can be done to them as what's happened with Brandon Robb, and to keep the vets from being able to, you know, have their cognitive abilities to be able to fight this thing. Excuse me just a minute.
Can you answer any of that, Drake, at this point?
Oh, yeah, it's real simple. The basic problem is that the VA is being allowed to figure out and do whatever it feels like in terms of veterans. I'll give you a couple of examples. There was a scandal at Walter Reed where a paraplegic was under leaky pipes and nasty things were falling on him, and they knew about it and didn't even move the bed. I know of a guy that got his leg blown, I think it was a leg and an arm blown off, and they decided they wanted to charge him for leaving his equipment on the battlefield. Now, I hate to tell you, but there are, by now, I would say at least 1 million veterans who are not getting treated for PTSD and related health issues, and this has been ongoing, and this has been orders to the VA through DOD from the executive office. Until we change the VA, and I'm talking about putting people in jail that have mistreated wounded veterans, I don't see this is going to change. You'll find that they want to take care of only a limited number because of the expense involved. They're worried about the almighty dollar and couldn't care less that they put these people in the position to get hurt in the first place. And now they're coming home and they have problems, and we're saying, oh, we're sorry, man, you had personality disorder, so you can't have PTSD, but even if you do, that's a pre-existing condition, and we don't owe you squat. Until that sort of thing changes, until they understand that Agent Orange causes all manners of skin cancers and other problems until they start admitting that depleted uranium causes birth defects that are really grotesque, fries the individuals that are around it, etc. Until they start coming clean, I ain't shaving and are getting my hair cut, and I don't have much use for them. Now, that does not mean that some people don't get what they're supposed to get. It does not mean that you are totally in the cold. Now, whether this is going to be changed is questionable. Right now, Obama is not very popular with the military at all. If they had their way, he would not be in that office. And I'm talking about right now. So what you're dealing with is a serious problem. And this serious problem may have some serious ramifications. Anybody out there who's a veteran, who's got PTSD problems, or thinking of suicide and that sort of happy stuff, I have a PTSD link on my website that explains to you how to reach control, that explains to you how not to be subject to the savage renegade memories and dreams, so that you don't feel like you're worthless, useless, etc. Because you ain't.
Yeah.
It gives you a manner of being able to treat yourself. Nobody gets in your head except you. You're already there anyway. Well, how about a nice shovel to dink that sucker over the head that keeps waking you up in the middle of the night? You know, it's real simple. You get the tools, you get the weapons, you get to be able to fight back if that's what you decide to do. So visit that, read it. Everything on the website is available to be downloaded, printed out, etc.
Yeah, and that's AmericanNationalMilitia.com, by the way, AmericanNationalMilitia.com. Drake, we have about 2.5 minutes left before it cuts us off at overtime, and we had about 6 or 8 more questions, but I think we might be able to get one more in.
Okay.
And, ma'am, thank you for your questions. Really appreciate that. Excellent question.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Well, okay. Well, let me give the fellow that was listening to a lead on one of the senators that was arrested in New York.
Okay.
Senator Shirley Huntley.
Huntley?
State Senator Shirley Huntley is arrested, and it was on ABC News, by the way. It did make mainstream media.
Okay. Okay.
That's one of them. Now, if you study that one, you'll learn of the other senator.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad to have you back with us.
Hey, I got cut off. I'm glad you all got me back on.
We love you.
Okay, let's see if we can get Dan from Nevada in before we lose connection here. Dan, you're live.
Thanks. I'm polishing up my pots and pans, so no banging today. Hey, you were on a phone call a little while ago, Drake, and mentioned about being a hybrid or something to that effect. Is this the result of recombinant DNA technology, or is this like Noah from the Book of Enoch, chapter 106, and he said unto him, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from and unlike man, and resembling the sons of God of heaven. And his nature is different, and he is not like us, and his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels, and I fear that in his days a wonder may be wrought on earth. Can you comment on that?
Yeah. The hybrid program, or better known as the civilian project, was supposed to be benevolent. It was carried on by a variety of different ETs. These ETs, or angels, however people want to look at that, wanted to have a group, in terms of a larger group they could get, of people that could function at a higher level than the average person could, and had a general direction in that direction of being a higher operational being. And that's basically what I'm involved in. Okay?
All right, thanks. Keep up the good work. God bless you all.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, we have Buck from Atlanta. Buck?
Yes, Drake, somebody said that they thought Wells Fargo was going to make it through when they closed down the bank simply because China is backing them or financially owning them. I'm not sure. Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, I have, and it's a possibility, but it's not written in stone like I told you about. I've told everybody about everything else. We'll have to wait and see. Okay?
Okay, 10-4. Thank you.
Drake, check for Skype messages.
Check for Skype messages.
Yeah, I just think your number. So when we get hooked up or when we get disconnected, you can call back in, and I'll bring it back live.
Yeah, because Blog Talk is going to cut us off in about 1 minute.